Joey Options is there. Joe seems to hate all the food that we have. He doesn't like cookies. He doesn't like apple pie. Doesn't like fried chicken. Doesn't like, I don't know. He doesn't like grandma's mac and cheese. I'm just making stuff up at this point. Hopefully he does like the chili. I know he likes good trades. I know he likes Bitcoin, which is up today, so he's got to have a smile on his face. We'll be back at 2, and we'll see you then. But on to the midday.
This is no Bitcoin for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, cut. Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Happy Friday and welcome to the Midday Show. This handsome gentleman is your boy Joey Options. He's not happy right now, but we're going to find out why in a minute. I'm Sharif, and let's say hello, I should say, to everybody. Where are they at, Assassino? Let's see. We got I Grow Fighting. I like that. Aura Alpha, 420. Bud Monster, he's sending mad love from across the pond. DJ Rules and Hinsey, shout out to Christmas. Buffalo, Adam, Mike, Damien, Trader, 604. We got the Hangry one. Yes, Hangry Wife, Andrew Chow, and Dalmir Lima. We got Aura Alpha, an Outlaw Trader. Shout out Mike P. D. Ryder. He's the only one that gets kind of that, little soliloquy that I do. Shout out to Michael Mendoza, Papacito. We got Lil Lo Lopez, 4 Alt J, Big Red Bulldog, 100 Mario 81. These are new names. I like it. We got Mo Biji, Bustin, Busy Trader, Mr. Puka, Danny Day Trizzle. Shout out to Kandahar. You're joining us from Afghanistan, man? That's pretty cool. Kobe the Kid, always be thankful. Boomstick, Yummy Thai Foods, Jay Bronson. Shout out to Stone, broke since yesterday, always makes me chuckle. Pizza Pie, Dexter Smith and Jay Coingy. Shout out to Paul Sadilo, Sit and Spin, Toby, Dean Allen. One more, Joey.
Allen.
Grunfeld. What's up? Right back at you, man. Shout out to the OG Ichiro.
Isn't Grunfeld a vampire?
I don't know, Joey.
Oh, all right. All right, guys, let's hop right into things here. So we just took a small loss here on DKNG, looking for the break of the support level, 2170. Didn't work out for us. 3 names on the list, Rivian, Pins, DKNG. And we look at the overall market as well, too. Let's head over to RIVN. Let's see what we had. Nothing special going on with it today. 1 small loss, 1 small win on it. That is totally fine. Let's see if we can, why are we on to Blue Ocean? And here it is, right? So, all right, so here it is, a small loss right here. We get out looking for the breakup of volume weighted average price, going with the flow essentially, right? Some strong price action from yesterday and into the pre-market this morning as well too. And then we take a small win on RIVN. So that's it. So we got 1 loss on DKNG, 1 loss on RVIN, 1 small loss on, 1 small win, sorry, and then we'll go over to Pins as well and see what we got going on here. So this is, she's like, Joe's not happy. Well, I mean, I just sat in this trade for the whole day, and then sure enough, Nicey boys decide to push it price right back up. So we got a nice pick off the top. We take some off there at the volume weighted average price, and in the span of a couple minutes, I was still holding on to about 85% of my position, looking for that breakdown into the $14 mark, and then you get somewhat of a rebound here. So we'll keep an eye out on that, but a nice little move in, Pins to the downside. Unfortunate that we did get stopped out full amount. Let's take a look at what I was going over here today. The TQQs, I still believe that we can grind a little bit higher. Oh, I did take a trade on TQQs, and then it came back to our break even. So we got out a little bit earlier on that one. So SPY as well, 3 names I was just talking about, Pins, Rivian, and DKNG. That's what I have on my list today, guys.
All right, guys, rate your portfolio pain from 1 to 10 since Fabian. So for those who want to vent about some of the latest pullbacks we've been having in the market, I like them. I just think they're buying opportunities. So go ahead and put the number in. 4, we got 6, 7. All right, 7, 4, 10, 10, 10, 420. Of course you said that, 420, Bud Monster. Chaz is more like me, 2. We got 10, 8, 2, 3. Okay, all right, bring the numbers in the chat. Bring them quick, baby, because we're not going to be doing this for long. Yeah, so it seems like they're a bit more on the high side. Peng, 69. You got my attention there, my man. Shout out to you, brother. What's going on, Fabian? All right. Shout out to Zen Zombie. He's dropping $2 in the chat. We're going to thank him for that. BBAI. How much trouble is this stock with a lawsuit? Let's find out what's going on with the Big Bear. I just got back from the gym, so I'm not aware of any lawsuits. Oh, it looks like, yeah, shareholders. But this is typical, right? We see this all the time. In the world of investing and trading, shareholder lawsuits allege that misrepresentation by the board. I got to stop here for a second because we're printing here on PHIO. This is breaking out, guys. 35.25% there. It goes into 166, and if we're in the mid 60s, mid to high 60s, where we're posting up next. We're in at 158. We're posting at 59. Then we're going up to 74. We're looking for continuation. I am interested in adding more into the half dollar should this pull back. There was a consolidation area at the half dollar here for, I think, a few minutes, and then right back up it goes. In any event, let's go back to this thing over here. Cantor, analyst downgraded Big Bear to neutral from overweight. Analyst Big Bear 2-year, okay, blah, 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 blah. Where's the lawsuit, bro? Okay, Paris, acknowledged one of premier firms, securities antitrust litigation. Is there an actual explanation of the lawsuit itself, or are we just going to look at these kind of solicitations by these law firms? Yeah, I'll look at this after, but Big Bear, how's it doing on the day? Well, it's up 2.5. It's not really doing anything, 1.83 billion. It's done 14.5 million shares, so nothing that I want to trade personally, but yeah, sorry, it couldn't really be much help there, brother, but there's really no information here on the lawsuit itself. I can have a look for this. I can have a look later, but I think we're kind of in the middle of things right now for me to be slowing down and looking at these. But while we tell you about that, let me tell you about this. Here's what we got on the side charts. MLEC was the biggest, the baddest of them all this morning, but, true to form, they don't hang around for very long. I'm talking, of course, about the small cap gappers. Around for a good time, not a long time. Anyway, MLEC still up 95%, having done 31.5 million shares of volume. It is fighting right now to stay above the volume weighted average price. And then I'm not liking what I'm seeing here at this 10 to 10.5 level. We're seeing a lot of topping tail candles, and it's repetitive. The 1040, 1045, 1055, 11, 1105, they're all topping tails. That means the sellers are getting quite aggressive and they're convicted in their beliefs and in their positions. So I'm not liking that. Moreover, it's not clearing that level easily, nor is it making higher highs. And let's cut the crap, man. It's still on that downtrend ever since that topping tail candle at 905. And basically again at 910. So MLEC's got to look a little bit better. Ideally, breaks above this range, shows you that it's cleared VWAP, cleared 10, and has aspirations of taking out the official high, which is currently $11.44. So we're going to keep an eye here on MLEC, but there's others. Atom, ATOM. Look, you're not getting much in the way of a lot of volume. I think we have about 8.5 million shares and a $3 name by 11 o'clock, 11:10. But the chart pattern is good. Now, there was a lot of selling, as you can see here. Look at the topping tail candle format, right into that 3 1/3. But we've taken out those sellers. And now we're 352 high. Last, it looks like it is a good area of support at the 10 EMA on the 5. Every single print, wick, close, or otherwise, there are no otherwise, they're all defending that 10 EMA. So I'm very interested in building a position at around 340 to 335 with the ultimate DCA into the 3 1/4 where VWAP is. It loses that amount. Simple. So we're going to keep a close eye here on Atom. There are others. You'll see CONL on my chart. Clearly not a small cap gapper, but it is, and I think it's leveraged. It's an ETF for Coinbase. I'm just to make sure. Yeah, it's 2 times the movement of COIN. Initial resistance at 620, but then the buying came fast in the 689 high. It looks like we're putting in a bull flag consolidation area here with 689, 690 at the top and 660 at the low. So a bit of a 30 penny range, give or take, for the consolidation aspect of the bull flag. So CONL definitely in focus for me. CRSR. This one had a great aftermarket pump there right at 4 o'clock. I don't know if this was earnings or what, nor do I care. But I'm looking for continuation today. So it is at VWAP right now, which is a little bit above that $7 area. You're not going to catch me trying to catch a falling knife, especially with this unbroken downtrend that we've been in. So it's got to change its tune, start putting in some higher highs, higher lows, break trend, break above that trend line, and get above VWAP most notably, and then we'll get right into this one. I haven't traded it quite yet. PHIO is putting in a topping tail candle that I don't like. So what am I going to do here? Am I going to get in more? I'm a flattening out. I'll add into the position. I'll get back in if it's warranted, but I don't like that topping till candle. Let it set up a little bit more. I'm going to put in a dip trade for the low to mid 50s. Reason I like that, because the 10 EMA on the 5 and VWAP overlapping in that low to mid 50s. If it continues up and holds prior bar, I'll just get back in. Simple as that. Okay, so that's what we're looking for right now, Joey. We're in PHIO, looking to get into Atom, and looking as well at CONL.
All right, guys, take a look at the TQQs. This is exactly what I had going on here earlier. It was a nice move. I'm like, all right, consolidation, then a breakout, and I thought maybe it would be sustained a little bit longer. And I was going to try to hold this to $50, right? So just from what I was looking at on the chart, I think this is an attainable target. And I still believe that the market's going to continue to grind a little bit higher here. We're getting a slow curl over in pins, but I don't know if I'm going to re-engage in this name. And Rivian looks like it wants to maybe break through the volume-weighted average price. But I talk about this time and time again. You want to try to get the lower end of the ranges instead of trying to buy the breakout. Even though in this instance with the TQQs, I bought the breakout, but you can slowly see the volume starting to stair-step higher. And I just believe that we were forming those continuous higher lows. That I was like, yeah, all right, this is the time. Let's get involved. And if this breaks out or comes back into the middle of the range, then I know I'm wrong because it should work relatively quick, right? If you're in there at the right place and at the right time on your breakout, then it should work pretty quick. If not, then I believe you can always get a better entry price. And that I was referring to here on RIVN. We tried the long one time and then we tried the short. So it hasn't really decided what it wants to do yet. So we'll keep an eye on the volume by time profile and see what we have going on. If we're fortunate enough to get a little bit lower, then I think we might have a good opportunity to get a continued breakout here in Rivian. The market's starting to come back in, so a lot of chop here today, and I have to take a look at what the big boys are up to. So we'll keep an eye out on that, and DKNG just not necessarily cooperating. Lots of chop here today on that name. So once again, if you're going to be looking for that breakout, wait for that volume. If not, it's sell the highs and buy the lows, okay? So there goes pins right back past my entry to 1478. It did climb to around 1490 and now starting to curl over there. It does look like a double top before we move forward and take a look at what the MAG are up to. I haven't even looked at them today. Again, I told you my 3 names and that's what we're doing. We're just sticking with those. So $15 was a high here on pins starting to come back in. This trend line was holding up. And what we had drawn out, I was like, ooh, okay, nice steady downtrend week off of that report. Let's see if we're going to get a continuation, but you're down 20%, so it's tough. You did see and experience a little bit of buying stepping back into that particular name. All right, so let's head over and see what the MAG are up to, what the big boys, what's NVDA trading at 183, okay, and not doing too much, right? So a down really, really weak opening drive, so that 10-minute auction, pretty weak, guys, and then you find somewhat of a rebound, but now we're just eastbound. And could it be eastbound and down? Shout out to Kenny Powers, for whoever, those who know who Kenny Powers is. I believe Neil does, but there's TQQs, guys, really stuck in limbo, but now we're starting to get somewhat of a breakout in Rivian. Now, I took the long, and you can't get frustrated with that long. Why? Because you have just strong price action throughout the day and in the pre-market, and it's like, all right, you're putting yourself in at the right place. Is the time correct, right? That's something that can be a little bit more tricky. It's just getting your timing. What has silver been up to? I was looking at this name from a daily, and I'm like, uh-oh, this is not looking good for SLV, especially considering today is going to be an inside day. If we break that $66 mark, there might be some more downside here in SLV. What is digital gold up to? $39 here. You like that one, eh, Sharif?
The bunny ears showed your dismay for the name, bro.
Yeah, I'm not. No, it's going to take a while, right?
Like, I respect that.
Yeah, it is what it is. I'm still a holder. I will remain a holder of this thing. Will I buy a little bit more? Maybe at some lower prices here, considering we are south of the IBIT IPO. So yeah, we'll be patient for that. Maybe I'm thinking like 60K if we're fortunate enough to get that. There goes Rivian. This breakout's really looking, so I want to take advantage of that. How's Tesla been performing today? Guys, as you've noticed, I haven't really taken any of the mags, but Tesla going towards a flat top. Is this going to break out, and is the volume going to start to pick up here in TSLA? Keep an eye out on that one. This is just a volume scan. We have NVDA once again leading its class at 69.7 million shares traded.
57.
Intel, what has it been up to today? Strong, going opposite the overall market, but a nice turnaround signal, and now heading towards some key support levels. Has Robinhood slowly started to recover? A good session. This is what you want to see from Robinhood, all the way up to $77.
Sounds good. Zen Zombie, tell me to look at that hot garbage plug. I have checkered past with this. Well, man, I don't know why I hate on so much. I lost $1 a share. Like, calm the hell down. All right, so plug. This is the weekly chart on plug. Oh, baby. Look at that, Joey.
You know what we call that thing, right?
What do you call it, Joey?
Can't say it on
garbage?
air. No, you can't say it on air, my boy.
You're not allowed to say it on air. I respect that. That. Let's have a look, guys. All right, we're having a good time. All right. Yeah, it's okay. What is it up? It's up 4.4. $1.91, $1.90 looks like to be the high of the day. It's currently printing $1.90. Had a bit of a tough day yesterday. Well, that's an understatement. It's breaking, is it breaking the trend line? A little bit there. So that 3-day pullback, it looks like it might be breaking some trends. It really hasn't taken out key levels, though. So I'm going to be packing my patience. I'll watch this one. I haven't taken an intraday trade on plug in a while. I've tried when Bloom Energy was really catching that big wave earlier on. Plug was moving in sympathy, but we all know plug power. And look at that. I'm long 10,000 shares in my sim over here, Joey, at $3.87. It's showing the $1.91. I'm substantially out of the money. Just for you know what, a giggles. I am down $19,265 on plug in the sim over here.
All right.
So
good thing you can just reload the paper account back
well,
up.
it's fine, Joey. You know, it's not a big deal. Drop system, see that point at very top of your chart, Sharif. There, that's where I bought plug. I'm sorry, brother. Still one of my worst write-off losses of all time, says Drop Systems. But that's the beautiful thing about the tax system, my man. You can write that off, and I'm pretty sure you guys can carry losses. I know we can carry losses here for 10 years, capital losses.
Oh, is that it? Oh, I must be, I'm getting really close to my AV. If it's only 10 years?
I'm pretty sure.
Is it 10 years?
The ITA, the Income Tax Act, allows you to.
Getting pretty close.
I double check that. You're going to have to check with chat or anything better than chat. Zen Zombie's laughing as well. Thank you, Assassino. Frederick, the A shares of plug are way better than the other ones. What does that mean? Are there different classes of shares on plug? I didn't really know that. I'm just seeing one here. Let me just check, because I can probably pull them up in my system. Plug. So there is that on the max. I don't know, brother. Let me pull it up over here. Let me see. Explain to me what you mean, by the way, because I don't know what you mean. Plug. All right, I got stock, options, warrants, CFDs, and then there's different exchanges off which it trades. I don't know what you mean. Let me know what you mean, brother. VVPR is moving, I know. Sorry, let me just get to the trade that I'm in right now. I'm in Atom. I'm trying to get back into PHIO as well, because this one, it looks like it's gonna go. So we're gonna punch here for a 5-day break on PHIO. Let's set up some profit takers into 69. It's changed its tune. I'm also gonna look to DCA. I already have one DCA down there at around the $0.50, but I don't think that that's accurate anymore. I'm gonna put it near prior bar low, which is around the 159, 160. We'll put it around there. We'll see if we can catch a print. But it's Adam that's treating me well over here, up into that high day of 64. I think we have 54s on now, so let's keep a close eye on that one. But VVPR is moving. Jamlocky, you're absolutely right. Into the high of day goes VVPR, knocking on the door of 199 high. It's not doing a whole lot of volume, mind you, but it's looking really, really good in terms of price action. VVPR has done 2 million shares on a $1.96 name. So yeah, light volume. It's not really a declining volume profile though, so I wouldn't be worried about that. 38% in the Ville of Green, so watch out for VVPR. It's a habitual one, but there goes ATOM into the high of the day at 370. Your boy wet the beak at 669, obviously. Now we're posting up at 74. We're looking for more. Let's see what Adam has to offer over here. 55%. And at the day high. Good volume, good chart pattern, good 340 flat top break. Let's see if this one's destined to touch 4 or what the situation is going to be. As I said, I've weaseled back into PHIO. I'm going to build a position here because I'm seeing topping till candles, which means people are taking profits and or shorting into the 2/3 of a dollar. However, I like the chart pattern for a bull flag consolidation area. If that's going to be the case, I want to build my position towards a lower end of the consolidation for a possible, underline that, possible bull flag, second bull flag continuation into a high, maybe even $2 if I get lucky on PHIO, Joey.
All right, good look there. So let's take a look at the daily and see what we're trying to form. I think that's really important to know. You want to correlate your daily with the intraday, right? So we are starting to form somewhat of a hammer candle. So with pins in this specific scenario, maybe we try to avoid the short, especially if we want to head back towards that $15 high of the day and close as a complete hammer. We got our eyes on DKNG and Rivian, but you can see from an intraday standpoint, not the cleanest PA, right? So we want to try to find something that's orderly. The TQs and the SPY are a little bit trickier to trade today, even though you have somewhat of a channel to the top side. It's just the ebb and flow of it, right? Like you could run into the top end, you run into the resistance, and then you immediately get bought back up into the middle of the range. So keep an eye out on that. And that's why, and the boys talk about this all the time, like just to increase your risk to reward ratio. There's nothing wrong with buying breakouts, but with most things in life, there's a time and a place, and you want to position yourself as relatively good as you can. And when you first start off, you're obviously not going to get the best entries or exits along those lines. But the goal is to just get a little bit better and position yourself to the point where it's like, hey, where am I wrong? And I think that's a question that needs to be consistently asked throughout your intraday trading and through all time frames of trading, to be honest with you. It's just, where am I wrong? And then establish a thesis off that. And if you don't get the price that you want, then so be it. Go find something else and look to get involved with different names or something along those lines. But as for the TQQs, you can see around $48, guys. We're starting to form a base. So are you going to specifically get it right at $48? No, maybe not. But if you're a couple, like 10, 15 cents from that specific low, then you only have to risk that opposed to buying all the way up here. Even though in my instance, when I did buy the breakout, you have a 5-minute candle, it's just I have to risk 50 cents. So you have to drastically size down. But if you're only 20 cents away from your stop opposed to almost 2.5 times that, you can really increase your size and still lose the same amount, but your risk to reward ratio is drastically increased, all right? So there goes pins. Still doing some sideways. This is a double top, right? Like we're not gonna deny that. Let's see how we react if we come back and retest that $14.99 mark. And then here's Rivian, a slow curl over consolidation. Once again, lower end of the range drastically increases that risk to reward as you're now climbing up to $17.33. But as for DKNG, we might switch this one up here because it's sideways like the overall market, and I believe we might be able to find some better opportunities. What has Coinbase been up to on today's session? Oh, okay, a strong recover or a strong move. That's not bad whatsoever. There's the earnings report, a big time move. I know there was a downgrade on this not too long ago with a price target of $150. We are now a little bit north of that. Not saying that it means anything, but here it is. A steady downtrend. We'll mark that one off right here. And then this is still fully intact, if you ask me. You want to have at least 3 touches. We only have it 1, 2, 3. We'll call it that. So you're not going to necessarily always catch the bottom, but if you're really looking to get involved in some of these names, price will tell you. And that's what I'm talking about with Bitcoin as well. It's like, okay, we can just continuously pound the table and say, hey, this is the bottom, or we can, in my opinion, that is, make our lives a little bit easier and wait to get on the backside of things. There's a lot of room for this thing to ebb and flow and climb higher, climb lower, whatever it may do, but as soon as we start to curl around, price action will tell us, and then sure enough, what do we got to do? Try and take advantage of it.
All right. Party piece chirping me, bro, because Arsenal ended up tying Brentford yesterday. Oh,
Brentford? Who are those guys?
Brentford. A London team. But you know how it is in England, right? Like you could be, like there could be 5, 6, 7 teams in London.
Yeah,
you know, that's just normal.
You know who I used to like?
Who?
Norwich.
Norwich, yeah, okay.
Are they all right?
No, they're in the championship. The championship, unlike what it sounds like, is a second degree.
It's second?
It's second tier, yeah. Then there's League One, then there's League Two.
It's just grimy football over there in Norwich.
Well, bro, can I say something to you? Those championship guys, they fight hard. It's very hard to get out of the champ. And they play more games in the Prem, man.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, man, it's tough. What's going on, Raheem? Good to see you, brother. All right, here we go. We're doing it live on Adam. There goes Adam into the high. Pardon me?
What's up, brother? No, Raheem, you usually typically see him in a suit, so I'm like,
I know.
who's that guy?
Good to see you, brother. Good to see you, Raheem. All right, guys, here we go again. Adam is doing its thing, 25, and there it goes into another high day at 78. We got 54s on this bad boy. This one looks like it wants to squeeze into that $4 area. If it does, we've got a receptive seller here in me. We'll be buying along the way. There's 77. Here comes 78. We're posted at 78. No cross, no fill. We'll pack the patience concurrently, I should say, in the PHIO, and I added into this like a cycle. Now we're going to post at 68. We're going to take, oh, sorry. No. That doesn't happen. We post at 69 or go broke. So now we're posting at 69, 74, looking for continuation. I like the higher lows here on PHIO, but I'm very, very aware of the topping tail candles into the 2/3 of a dollar. So the higher lows are good. The topping tail candles are not. Let's see how this resolves. I do have a contingency plan, of course. I am looking at getting in more at around 155 to 150. The reason I give a range is the 10 EMA on the 5 is showing 55, and the volume weighted average price is Scotia above 50. So that's what I'm be keeping my eye out on there. And I'm looking for that flat top break. It looks like there's a bunch of selling here at 65 and 66. Of course, 66 is the high of the day. But look at that ascending wedge and that kind of flat top, at the top. So that's what I'm looking at there. And there goes Adam again, taking out my 78 order now. We're going to look for 82s. I think I'm being a little less ambitious here. No, we're going to move up. Let's go up to 88, okay? And then if it dips back down, gives me an opportunity to add, we'll get in there. So that's what I'm looking at there. Adam doing it live. I am worried, though, about the topping tail candles on PHIO, despite the fact that I personally see an ascending wedge and a possible flat top break, but you never know how these things are going to resolve. Party P, I have an absolute 10 ticker for you. It's more inverse Sharif and maybe more of a Louis stock. Thoughts? ANY. Shout out to man Party P. Let's take a look at ANY for the OG. Pardon me. Sphere 3D Corp. Okay. What do I got here? I got a $4.8 million market cap. Brother, it's only done 43,000 shares. I don't even think I'd be allowed to trade this. They'd fire me. It's probably blocked in our system. They wouldn't fire me, but you know what I mean? Looks like a 1-to-10 split on the 10th. This is the intraday, though. That's the thing, Party P. I can't trade this. There's nothing to trade here. Yeah, it's a little too late for my blood, brother, but thank you for pointing it out. I like how you said it's inverse and more Luis's style. I like that. All right, there's a poll now that the Chilean Nightmare has put into the chat. It reads as follows. Holding over 3-day weekend. Answers are as follows. Yes, staying long. No, closing by end of day. 3, hedging, protected both ways. And then last but not least, depends on CPI reaction. Well, I think we're up, right? We're up 1/3 of a percent minimum here. The IWM is ripping faces off. It is up 1.8%, substantially higher, Joey, than any of the other major averages on the day, each up 1/3. And you know what, Joey?
What?
You know what?
What?
There goes Adam into 88.
Hitting that bomb, eh? Hey,
all right, man. I feel it every bit of Friday. I'm staying long. You guys know what I think about
You
it.
got any plans this weekend?
No, because Cayman Islands, right?
Oh.
Yeah, for a week until Thursday.
Oh,
Yeah.
So what do you
okay.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's a boys' weekend, my boy. It's a boys' weekend. What's wrong with that?
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but it's typically not a boys' weekend. Isn't Valentine's Day on
Yeah, well,
Saturday?
that's kind of one of the things, too. Man, you got to bait it out, bro.
You're going to bait
Baiting everything out, bro. Baiting everything out.
I'm not baiting that. I'm just asking.
Baiting it out, bro.
I was asking. I thought you were chilling with Betty and Veronica.
Yeah. Those
That's not a boys' weekend.
Nice save. All right, bro. Keeping an eye here on Adam. We're going to see if this one can take out the top. It got to 87s. I'm waiting at 88s. It doesn't let me cross, so we're going to have to do it live a little bit later. Keeping an eye on FIO. So we are looking like we're getting the rejection here at 67s. The topping tail candles are operative. The only thing that is going to be a distinguishing factor for me is whether it loses VWAP. That's it. So that's or Alpha.
What do you
You're
say?
killing me,
Yeah,
bro.
you
Nah,
take you
man,
out, man.
I appreciate that. The thought, though,
What,
or
you
Alpha.
wouldn't let Or Alpha take you out?
I don't know. Is that a man?
Probably,
if it is,
but
then I'm not going.
Well, you guys can go out as friends, no?
On Valentine's Day. What's happening here, people? What's happening here, people? All right. We're having a good time, baby. We're having a good time.
Valentine's Day. Just
Well, enjoy, my boy. I'm not doing that. There comes Adam all the way down. Oh, man, I wanted that 88 print, man. You don't give me that 88 print. There it comes in the 56s. Let's see now. Does it find support at the 10 EMA? Here's the 10 EMA now. So I'm not going to quickly add. I want to keep an eye out on this one to see if it actually finds support. And if it does, I'm going to add into this position for another possible, not another, but a possible $4 move. Keeping an eye on here, Joey. What do you got?
Yeah, man. A lot of people in the chat still talking about FSLY here. Yeah, man, it's a really good look. $16 up to $18.20. And this is what we're talking about, just kind of the up and down nature of the TQQs today, and same with the SPY, right? So you just run into the $48.21 level. That's going to be the volume-weighted average price, and then now you're starting to break up. I'm glad that we didn't re-engage here on pins. You could just see from a daily, looks like we want to close a little bit stronger than what we were expecting. So take my strong hand.
Yeah.
Take my strong hand. As for Rivian, guys, that's slowly starting to come in. If you get a hold of this level, right, so that resistance can act as possible support, maybe get a little bit of a bounce there. But FSLY continuing to move to the northeast. A nice look there. DraftKings, I'm just looking for something. I think we may as well go with FSLY. We were fortunate enough to participate on the breakout yesterday, but I think at this point here, we're a little bit past that. You do have that consolidation at the lows. And then the volume starts to pick up as you breach through the volume-weighted average price, and then you breach that previous pivot high of the day. So maybe you get a little bit of a move right there as well, guys. So keep that in mind. TQ's coming right back in. I think it's going to be a good opportunity to try to catch the lower end of the range and then right at the volume-weighted average price, all right? So that's going to be my game plan. If we get one more test of 48.20 or anywhere relatively close to that zone, I'm going to look to get involved one more time. We had a nice move up here, but then I didn't take anything off looking for that $50 mark, and it came back against me, and I'm like, you know what? From what I'm getting in the price action, we're not going to get a continuation, a strong move to the downside, no sustained bounce back, and I'm like, all right, let's just take a small win on this one, whatever it may be, and then look to get back in at a better price. And I never re-engage, which would be more ideal at 48.20, which we've seen multiple touches of that specific zone. All right, and there goes pins right to the top side. We're at the top end of the range on the TQQQ, so maybe we're running into that time where we can come back into the zone that we want to look for. And FSLY looking pretty good. Coins still climbing higher as well. We'll pull that up on a different chart, and we'll see what the big boys are up to. What has Tesla been doing? Oh yeah, I'm so glad we didn't re-engage on pins to the short side. Tesla, how have you been performing today? K-Web is on the scan as well, so that's been performing relatively. This is the Chinese internet ETF, guys, so not too bad of a look. MU, what has Netflix been up to? $76, yay, on Netflix. SoFi, now back, now back to $19 a day. What do you have for us?
I think it would be very negligent of me to not mention Coinbase during this crypto recap. Now, I'm sure we're going to be mentioning this on the news segment at 1 p.m. So with that assumption, I'm not going to get too into details on COIN here, though there will be a whole bunch more infographics on this coming out on X and TTV Research. But I think one thing right away here, you actually saw a sequential decline, so quarter-over-quarter decline in transaction revenue. Though more or less here, transaction revenue and subscriptions and services revenue, their percentage of overall revenue for Coinbase remained intact on a sequential basis. So you've got roughly 55% or so, just over half with transaction revenue, and then just under half going to subs and services here. Let's talk here about BTC, because here's the weekly chart. And we're seeing, if not aggressive buying, at the very least, a decline or a pause in some of the aggressive selling. So as of right now, we are still poised to have our fourth straight week of red for BTC. But, you know, if anything, it's a lot more smaller of a sell-off right now. We're only down 1.5% in the week. And B, this look here on the chart does, as I mentioned here, look at very least like the selling is decelerating rather than accelerating, which is always a good look. And we'll take a look at that daily here. The daily, well, the weekly isn't green yet. The daily certainly is, guys. We're taking out not just yesterday's price action, but all of Wednesday's price action as well, up almost 5% here on the day. And right now, knocking on the door of 70,000. To be fair, we're a little ways away from that right now. We're on 69,200, but we are pushing higher. Current high of day here for BTC, 69 halves. Make sure to like. Make sure to subscribe. We're going to send you back up to Sharif and Joe.
All right. Oh, just because you did that to me yesterday. You dunked on me yesterday, bro. I had to. Nah. I'm playing this guy, bro. Yeah. People don't forget.
People don't forget.
People don't forget. All right.
Sure, man.
We're having a good time, guys. All right. Here's the deal. Adam, ATOM. Doji candle, candle of indecision, cleanly off the 10 EMA on the 5. However, the current candle, I'm talking about the 1135 candle on the 5, has not cleared the prior area high. This loses the $0.50 amount. So we will risk about 4 pennies with the remaining amount on this. Now, that's one side of the trade. The other side of the trade, this takes out 70. I'm going long. So I have a breakout trade above that level. By definition, it will have to make a prior bar high breach for me to take that new order. So keeping an eye on that separately. We're taking prints here, man, on my boy FIO. Into the high we go. We took out 71, 74 still unfilled, but the topping tilt candles are still manifesting here on PHIO. So there is aggressive selling now at the 2/3. I want to say maybe all the way up to $0.75. When are we gonna, outdo the shorts here? Because the topping tilt candles are just very, very clear. Let me show you here, at least on the 5 anyway. I'm sure there's probably multi-time frame confirmation. If I switch to my multi-time frame, we can go like that, PHIO. Let's have a look over here. The 15 is going to be on the bottom left of your screen. And yes, you're getting 3 topping tilt candles on the 15. So what we're seeing on the 5 is jiving with what we're seeing on the 15. We're going to pause for a second, talk more about that, but we've got to go to the big desk with Adair.
Keep an eye here on Zillow, guys. Zillow reported earlier this week, as of right now, near day's lows, more or less. But we do have, I don't want to say a report because it's mostly speculation, but Wired saying here that according to a Google spokesperson, they're looking to expand their existing real estate agent ads. Google experiment is also generating speculation that Google might buy Zillow. So again, looks like some Google real estate ad experimentation is leading to speculation that Google could be acquiring Zed or Z. Again, pure speculation as of right now coming from Wired, but just be aware Zed actually bouncing off its lows on this potential report/story. Back over to you.
Thank you very much. There goes FIO, and we added like a psycho on the breakout, Joey, which obviously changes our cost basis. Seller at 75, which is fine, right? So we're going to look to take some prints. PHIO is doing it live. Keep an eye out on this one, but be careful for the retracements. Here are the levels. The 10 EMA on the 5, $1.60 or $1.59 to be exact. VWAP, 155. So keeping a close eye on that and keeping a close eye on ATOM, looking for the breakout. Bovin says ASTI is breaking out. Yeah, I see it, Bovin. I'm not a fan. It's light volume, brother, and it's only about 4% on the day. There's probably a trade here. It's not my cup of tea. Keep your eye on that one, though. It is green on the day, ASTI, and it is a former convict, so in a good way. Shout out to, what? Dath Owang, $5 super chat. Thank you, Dath Owang. I'm probably butchering your name, but I do apologize. Here's what he says. I am down so much. I am all in Amazon options and stock. 205 strike at 918, 26 contracts. Thought. Need Amazon 225 end of March. You think it's possible? That's your world, bro.
Take a look at Amazon. You don't want to be doing that stuff. We'll talk to you guys speak from experience. But I don't know. Again, I've done it before where it's just like you've been down so much. It's like I need a massive move. This is 225. By the end of March? At 9/18, you have a couple weeks. Not enough time. I'm going to leave it at that, right? Like, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. It can happen, right? Like, you can get a strong couple of moves up here, up into 225. You have the 205 strike. You need 225 by the end. Every day that passes by that Amazon doesn't climb higher, you know what's going to happen to those contracts. I just don't think it's time right now to be trying to buy these falling knives, right? Like, the market looks like it wants to head in a downward trajectory. This is strong price action here today. but anything can happen, right? I just think you need more time. If you can roll those over, give yourself a little bit more, right? Today's the 13th. You have a month, 4 weeks in order for this thing to climb approximately a little bit under 10% or so. And 10% would be put you right back up at $220 or whatever it may be, $20 from here. So yeah, it's tough. It's a tough look, man. Don't be doing that stuff. Write a little bit of cover calls. If it starts to work, then you can just buy back those cover calls as well too. Don't do that. Learn from your mistakes and see what happens here with Amazon. All right. I just want to give it to you straight because it's really tough. We go over this time and time again. Like, I'll just do this. We'll pick a random name out of the blue, a random Meg 7, right? And we'll go over to Tesla. Put a name in the chat. We'll take a look at what the decay can have in some of these contracts. So who Google here? Fabian in my ear said Google. No problem, my friend. We'll go take a look at Google. It's just random Fabian right in my ear. All right. So what are we trading at? 305.60. We'll go to the closest at the money. That's kind of already in the money here. So we'll go to this contract. We'll see what we got going on. We'll go to a higher time frame. That's a 1 minute. Go to the 4 hour. And we just go over to this, right? Like this thing was worth $3,600 on the 2nd of February, right? I understand that it's been in a downward trajectory, but you're down 96% on that contract in the span of a couple weeks, right? As soon as the volume really starts to kick in, you can't ever recover this. This will never recover by the time it expires, right? Today it expires today, so it's not worth anything. We'll go to a little bit further expiration cycle and go back to that 307, and you'll still see the decay within these contracts, right? So you just got to understand the objective of when you are buying options. It's always best when your thesis works best, as fast as possible. Next Friday, right, February 20th, you're still down 89% off of this specific contract. Okay, so let's correlate this with the actual underlying so we can get a little bit better of a picture. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the exact same date that the volume started to kick in on Google, and then we're gonna see how much from a percentage metric that we're down. Okay, this is what happens in leveraged derivatives. You have to be really cautious on what you're doing. So this contract peaked on February 2nd, 2026. Where's February 2nd? Here, right here. Let's see. Okay. You're down 12%, a staggering 12%, okay? And then in this contract, from that exact same date, you're down 96%, 89%. It will never recover. That's where they get you, right? Like, you got to understand, it's not that simplistic. 89% versus 12%. If you have that type of cash, there's a time and a place, in my opinion. Over the I think it's been like 4 years now that I've been trading options. Not every single scenario deserves an option contract. There's a time and a place. And like I was mentioning, whether it's equities, there's a time and a place when to use them. Whether you be buying puts or buying calls, the majority of people buy calls. There's more activity on that end, but 89% versus 12%. Which one do you think you can live through more, right? That's what you got to understand.
Guys, MLEC is making a move here. It's not through that $0.50 level, but it's the volume is picking up. The tape speed has also picked up. And you can kind of see that the shorts are defending 10.5 on MLEC. This is a triple-digit winner, but its best move, at least for the moment, is behind it. So let's see how this ends up manifesting. Now, here's what's catching my attention. You guys know I don't like the topping tail candle, especially if it was kind of hanging out south of VWAP, but these higher lows here show us that the buyers were stepping in incrementally to kind of push this one up little by little. The top, though, is the same top that we've had basically since 9:45. So 15 minutes after the open, that 10.5 is a staunchy level. Now, I'm not talking about strictly 10.5. I'm talking about the area. Like this candle over here goes into 10.59. By way of example, this one goes to 10.53. You guys get it, though. I mean, it's that 10.5 level. My suggestion, if you want a more, I don't want to say safe, because there's really no such thing as a safe trade, especially in the world of small cap gappers with size, build your position closer, I should say, towards that bottom trend line there, because it is holding higher lows. So if you get that 9.5, not even maybe 9 2/3 at best, you get 9 1/4, 9 1/3, and then you work your way up for a 10.5 flat top break, because what it's showing me here is a possible ascending wedge, right? That 10.5, it's a staunchy area of resistance and has been for the better part of the day. The official trading day, obviously, it was above that, well above that in the pre, but this ascending wedge pattern could be a good one. You just need to be on the lookout there. I'm going to keep my eye out on it. I think I'm going to set up, in fact, I'm going to set up small share size firstly at $10, okay? We're gonna go 10.05, dip trade. And then we're gonna go 10.75, the other dip trade, okay? 9.75, excuse me, 9.75. And then we're gonna add into 9.50 as well. So let's go ahead and do that. And then I think we just got printed on that 10, good. Topping tail candle, not surprised by that whatsoever, into that level. So we're building the position here. We have 10.05 on the dot, dropping down now into $10. Let's see if I can get that other one at 75. I think this candle, oh, give me a break, bro. It got to 78. I was waiting at 75, so we didn't quite catch that bottom. But that's what I'm trying to build my position in now. Now, if it loses 9.5, or sorry, 9 1/3, I'm out. Simple as that, okay? We're gonna take very small share size to build into this position towards the lower end of the range. Ideally, we get a flat top break. Here it comes down now, let's watch. See if it comes down into 9.75, not quite making it. And there it goes, right back up to 10.15. I'm not gonna take the print here. Let's take a print at the $1/3 of a dollar because I didn't get that many shares, right? So we're gonna go and wait here. We're gonna hope that we get a little bit more shares and that it drops down a little bit, gives me an opportunity to pick up a bit more. So keeping an eye here on MLEC, MLEC, big mover in the pre, but gave up a little bit. Basically since that time. How are we doing here on Atom? We're still about, more in the money. We're 68, so we got 54 here on Atom, but I am looking at adding more, but it's gonna have to clear 70 for me to get more. And then PHIO, what do we got here? 68, showing me 67. A lot of topping tail candles, I get that, but the higher lows are still operative. So the higher lows are still intact. They're not breaking. It hasn't lost a 10 EMA on the 5. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on. Did I get the Atom? No, I didn't. Oh God. It didn't give it to me. Okay, that's fine. Maybe we can get a bit of a better price. Let's keep an eye out here. Yeah, I'm gonna add into Atom here manually, and nothing changes for my trade on that. So that we're in 3 trades now. There goes MLEC into $1/3 of a dollar. Let's set up something now close to that $0.50, since my bias is that $0.50. What's going on? Hold on a sec. Stop, SSC, no. I was trying to put an order, my man.
I'm gonna
go ahead, Joey.
No,
go
continue.
ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
This week around 204. Okay, this is a completely different story. You bought them this week, let's pull everything up here. If you were to have bought them in January or anything along those lines, it's going to be near impossible for these to recover, okay? So you bought them at some point this week, whatever day it may be. You are down a little bit on them, but there's still a chance of recovery, okay? But I mentioned this before. If this doesn't start to work within the next couple of weeks and it continues to slide and Amazon breaks through some key support levels, just get out, okay? Don't hold on to, I personally wouldn't hold on to those. Amazon, it was a successful contract for me before. It was one of the first ones that I bought. XOM, Amazon, and JPM were some of the first ones. I remember it like it was yesterday. But you're breaking through some key zones, okay? So just keep an eye out on that. You have the 205 strike, not horrible. So I'm assuming maybe on Wednesday or something along those lines you purchased them and you're looking for a break above that specific area. But as soon as you go to the market, I need this price. It just typically doesn't work. So just be cautious on what's going on, okay? Don't give it as much time. The longer you hold it on, you know the game, the more that theta will pick up. Even though you're only losing pennies on the dollar at this point in those contracts value, just move on, okay? They're still worth $2,200 at this point. So if you have 25 of them, that's a good chunk of money. If you lose a little bit of it, then you can still buy some other contracts.
Joey, I got to interrupt. MLEC is going to halt up, guys. Boom! Into the... Oh, wow, that was a good one. There we go. And we caught the top on that one for now. What did I have? I had 10.25. We just wet the beak literally at the high of the day, 11.44. I have a dip trade to get more. MLEC is psycho. That was the flat top break that we were talking about through 10.5. Let's see if we can get a little bit more now on the micro pullback. MLEC doing it live here at 11, and it's taking out key levels. key levels that we've been struggling to take out basically all morning. We were above it in the pre. Clearly, that was not the case during regular trading hours. Let's see if it defends 11 now. So what's my level? I like that 10.5. If it can come back down to 10.5, use that prior area of resistance as support. I'm going to be waiting there, man. Let's just put it out there. I'm going to wait a little aggressively, a little bit above 10.5. Let's go 10.59 so we can kind of maybe, it gets to be a bit of a crowded trade. Let's see what we can get on this bad boy here. Very strong, but it's defending 11 generally. I don't think it's cleared 11 by that much for me to say, yeah, let me just use that 11 area as support, but there's clearly a buyer here keeping this above 11. This could be a breakout, man. The shorts could be on the ropes. There it goes, Joey, into 1167. Their halt parameter showing up here, false halt, 67, still limit up. You'll always be able to see that on my level 2 on the right side, what limit up is. The red rectangle will show you where limit up and limit down are on my level 2. So 1167 was. Let's see if it continues to show that, because it's going to evolve. Obviously, the price action evolves and the timer resets. So what a move up here, man. I should have had more shareage, Joey, but it just didn't let me into that 975 area. It went to 78, and then I didn't get more, so sucks to be me. But keeping an eye here on MLEC. Let's see if it comes back down. Does it test 11 again? Here it is at 11 again. Let's see if we can pick up some here. I'm going to go small and try to hold possibly for 10.5. We're going to get in here. Oh, we didn't get it. Didn't give it to us. Let's see if it drops back down, or I'm going to have to chase it. 17 buyer, 18 buyer. It's not going to let me in. There we go. We get the dip. What do we get? We got 14s, okay? Let's see if we can get a little bit higher on that one. And then keep in mind that I have a bias that this drops back down into about 10.5 to test it. If that's the case, then why don't I have orders there? So we got 11.14. Let's go ahead and wait at, oh, wow, there it goes into the high again. Let's set up at 69 now, since 67 is the high of the day. We're going to, actually, no, let me wait a bit higher. Let's go 77s on that, and then we'll look to get a little bit more here, if we can, into, again, that 11, I want to say 1075. Let's go 1075 for that one. Let's go 1070. That's buy order, right? Yeah. Let's see if it comes back down there. There's 42, there's 45, there's 59, 69. Looking for continuation, not quite coming in yet. Let's see if we can get above the $0.50. We are, but it's not continuing. Keeping an eye on this one. Let's flatten out the $0.50. Not bad trade. Let's set up a little bit more, and it comes back down. Let's see if we can get a little bit more on this one. We still have an order. So that has gone unfilled on MLEC. So packing the patience over here. 1167 high. Let's go ahead and wait a little bit lower. I'm going to wait 1105. Let's see if we can get that 11 defend again. Keeping an eye on this one. I just have to reset. I apologize. What do you got, Joey? Sorry, brother.
Yeah, I don't got anything right now, man. I'm just looking at the overall market. I'm in no rush to put on any positions, so essentially I'm just rambling on here and going over what everybody else in the chat has to say. The TQQs, Rivian, not too bad. You're starting to form a little bit of a consolidation once again. So what was acting as prior resistance is now acting as current support. Not too bad of a look. Try the lower end of the range. If it comes back into the middle of it, you can always reposition yourself a little bit better. Amazon also starting to form a little bit of some topping signals, guys. Breakout strong of the resistance zone, and then now you're slowly starting to come back in. If the market starts to participate and climb higher, watch out for these names to continue to go as well. We'll go back to our watch list and see what we have. From a mag standpoint, Gorb's like, hey, yeah, I've been short this, continuously shorting it for the past couple of days. Nice work. And this is what I'm thinking. So I don't want to buy this. I would rather short it, but there's so much tomfoolery in some of these bigger names. It's just like, okay, yeah, you position yourself, well, wick. So you have to be willing to sit with that loss. And I would prefer not to trade Apple right now. We'll see what NVD is up to. So I thought we were going to break out here, but doesn't seem to be the case just yet. But what we will do is start to form a somewhat of a wedge. We have our resistance zone. We have the consistent higher lows, and something that we can keep an eye out on, right? So if we bounce off of that 182.92 level once again, then maybe you can position yourself pretty good. You're in at the lower end of the range, and if you're fortunate enough to catch a breakout, then sure enough, your position. But if it also breaks down, you know when to get out. As soon as that trend line snaps, see you later. You're finding something else, or you're going to wait until you can reposition yourself a little bit better, okay? So just hop in, hop out. You don't want to do it too much, right? To the point where you're just continuously getting in and out and you're taking the small loss and ends up being death by 1,000 paper cuts, that's not necessarily one. So stick to the stops, stick to the game plan. Here's Tesla. Oh, I got double 5-minute. I thought this was a 10-minute. So there it is, 418, looking like it wants to climb a little bit higher. You're past those pre-market zones. You're starting to climb into yesterday's intraday session when we were starting to sell a little bit more. So I have my eye on the overall market, guys, and on RIV, and maybe we can get a continuation in strength there. Pins is still grinding higher. I'm glad that we got out of it. Unfortunate that we did get stopped out of the majority of our position and didn't lock in any lower right at this key support level of 14.27. Now you're climbing up to 15.11, so that's almost $1 from that previous pivot point right there.
Unreal, bro. There it goes again. MLEC, I got in at 11.05. I saw the buy at 11. And it wasn't printing anything lower than the high 90s, so I stupidly set up a tight stop at 88, got stopped out, and there it goes again into the high of the day. It's a 12.23 HOD at the moment, but it spent, I think, microseconds above that 12. So it's really a $12 resistance at the moment, but it's putting in higher lows, higher highs. Oh, wow. PHIO just dropped off a cliff. Get me out. Get me out. Oh, dang. Ugh. Yeah, that was a mistake by me. I should have been moving up my stop there. What it dropped off a cliff into the $0.50. So that'll be a loser for me on the day, PHIO. After starting off as a winner, we screwed up there by not putting in a stop, and we'll have to give back a little bit. Keeping an eye here on Atom and MLEC, though. Looking for continuation above 12.23 high. Let's see if we can pick up something a little bit lower. Still holding a higher low. So prior bar low, 1080, prior bar high, 1203. We're pausing for a second. We're going to the big desk.
Beware, guys. U.S. President Donald Trump appears to be speaking right now. He's not set to speak in the calendar that I'm seeing until 1:30 p.m., but he is speaking, I believe, at Fort Bragg. So the point I'm trying to make is we're going to get comments from him later, longer form, but not necessarily right now. Now, I'm guessing these comments, as a result, are likely coming from Air Force or just on the White House lawn. The only reason I'm even mentioning this is A, he's talking in case anything happens here, and B, he is praising the, quote, good financial numbers today. So he's happy with the CPI print we got. I'm also seeing apparently some speculation that that BAC and Apple are both being sold by Berkshire. Barron speculating that apparently in Q4 of 2025, Berkshire might have sold more Apple and more BAC. Apple's been selling all week. BAC also not moving on this, but some speculation from Barron's on watch. Back to you.
Go ahead.
All right, let's see what we got going on here with Rivian, guys. Rivian is starting to break out, so if you can catch the lower end of the range right there, that's not too bad. TQs is starting to breach that high of the day. You knock into that specific zone, and then you have the SPY as well. So a good look, lower end, then you can get that move. FSLI still continuing its grind higher, so not too bad of a look whatsoever. So if you're just continuously buying high at this point and it wants to grind, what is the resistance zone? I haven't even seen this from a daily to see if there's anything in the way of it. Has it broken through some key? Yeah, okay, so we're in blue sky, I think, at this point on FSLI, and it's going to continue to go. The volume is supporting all of this move, and that's a name that you want to look at over and over again until you start to see things cool down, okay? So 1865. Climbing higher. We were yesterday at $13. That's a nice move that we're experiencing. 40% right there in FSLI in the span of 2 days, Sharif.
All right, back into MLEC over here at the $0.25. Already took multiple spikes into the high 11s, 11.5. We took 63s, and I think we took 77s. So packing the patience, looking for a hold. It's still holding prior bar low, but the selling's coming in there. That's my out there, so we'll keep an eye out on that. And then all right, let's keep an eye out here. So current bar low, 11.18. Current bar high, 11.90. So there's a seller still at 12, and we have a lower high, but this feels like we're accumulating for a breakout above 12. Let's see what we got over here. 11 2/3, seller at 63. Looking for dip trades as you know we put in higher lows, just trying to pick up more for the break of 12. So packing the patience. Here we come, dipping back down into. Whoa, that was a huge sell-off, Joey. This is coming back down. The halt parameters, oh baby, we got out of that one. Real good there. There it is, 1036. Oh, baby, that got caught offside there. Thank God that was not me. 1036, so it looks like we're going to halt down here on MLEC, and we are halted. We are halted at 10:36. 11:58:44 is the time of the halt, so the earliest will be open 12:03:44. Keep your eye out on this one. All sorts of crazy, but very positive for me on this one. Hopefully we'll do a little bit more damage once this one opens. Mind you, it's still in a very tradable range, right? Because number one, that downtrend line there, that look for that now to act as support. That's number one. Number two, it's still at that general 1050 flat top break. Number three, it's still above VWAP. And number four, it's right at the 10 EMA on the 5. So I think this is totally tradable, but let's see how, the tap manifests during the halt and how we open. Let's take a quick look at the tap, see what the early sign is. The early sign is not looking good at all. So we halted at 1036. And the tap is showing 966. So we'll take this opportunity to look at some other ones right here. Namely, I want to show you guys RIG. RIG is very slow. It's not a small cap gapper, I don't think in the strict sense, nor is it up that much on the day. About 5.89%, $7 billion market cap, so not a small cap gapper, but a fantastic look nonetheless. Basically holds a 10 EMA on the 5 during the period of consolidation, and then the higher lows and the higher highs really get this one to take off. So RIG has done about 37.3 million shares on the day. 10 EMA on the 5 is 630. VWAP is 6 low double digits, 611, 612, can't quite tell. High of the day is 640, and the low is 586. I like that flat top breakthrough 610, which is also overlapping with VWAP, but that would be a substantial retracement. My move initially, given how much respect this one has had for the 10 EMA on the 5, and the fact that it's continuing to show buy program-esque price action during the illiquid time of the day would make me feel quite confident picking this up at 630, right where that 10 EMA is. So we're going to keep an eye out on that. Atom continues to displease me here. So ATOM, zigging and zagging. It's a long, prolonged area of consolidation. I'm just going to build my position into this one since we're getting in little by little. We have very little shares left on Atom, which makes me a bit more comfortable. We'll pick up some, I want to say, at the 50s if it does come back down. VWAP a little bit lower than the 50s, about 345, excuse me. So about 5 penny variance between the volume weighted average price and the $0.50. So that's it. Oh, I totally forgot to mention Fastly. Yeah, man, your boy Joey Options and myself were all over this bad boy yesterday. FSLY and RIG look very similar in the kind of like the small cap gapper-esque style. Neither of them are small caps, but they look very similar in the sense that they had an initial pump up around 9:30 when the breakout, when the market opened, and then kind of consolidated for a while, and then the buy programs got turned on and they haven't been turned off right now. So RIG, bottom middle of your screen, FSLY, bottom left, they look very, very similar. So perhaps we'll trade them in a similar way. And the last but not least, before we go up for happening now, CONL. This is a 2 times leveraged ETF for COIN, breaking through that 690 flat top. In fact, it's using 690 now as support, the 704 high. This one could be a good one here if Coinbase continues to move. You have anything before we go up?
No, I'm just looking at the overall market here again, guys. Just being extremely patient on any form of a quality setup. I mean, there was opportunities in Rivian. The TQs is still steadily grinding higher, but you can see we ran into that $49.22 mark on multiple occasions. So I got my eyes on Apple as well, too, as it's just continuously moving sideways. And maybe we can find a direction in this breakout. So, again, you see me typically sit in positions for long, but that's just because I'm waiting for a quality opportunity. It may or may not come. Neil says that all the time. So I have no issues sitting on my hands. Slightly red here today, but it's just one trade away. And if I get in at the right place at the right time, things will turn around for sure. That's all I have. We're going to send you guys. There it is.
Okay.
What's happening now? I mean, certainly some upside in the market. This market, or rather these buyers, are not very spooked by any sellers coming through here on Friday the 13th. That's Friday, February 13th, to be specific here. The SPY kind of coming into this area of resistance we encountered later in the day on the S&P 500 yesterday, that 685, right? Sorry, yeah, 686 right now, trading just above 685. So we'll have to wait and see if that level comes into play. But we're not here to talk about technicals over here. We're here to talk about the fundamentals right now that are in this market. CPI came out this morning, as I've mentioned a couple times now. Core CPI in line with estimates. The core CPI year over year for January in line with estimates, but still marking a 0.2% decrease from the prior print. Nice look there. Then we also have here the non-core CPI coming in just 0.1% cooler than expected for both month-over-month and year-over-year. Tons of earnings on watch here, of course, Coinbase, Roku, DraftKings, Moderna, Enbridge. So many names to talk about, but I do want to mention Pinterest. I know Joe was mentioning Pinterest over here as well. Double miss and guidance weaker than expected here, but growth still actually happening for this company on a year-over-year basis for the quarter. And also, I was reading through the report. They're still growing year-over-year for these metrics as well. So interesting stuff here for PINS, and that's for the fiscal year. Let's take one last look as well at Zillow. This one had a nice pop off the lows, now giving it all back. I brought this name to you guys when I saw that Wired, which is of course a tech publication, they were speculating that Google could try to do a takeover bid for Zillow, given some indications that Google's trying to move into real estate agent ads. Interesting look there for Z or Z. In the meantime, we're gonna look over to Neil and see what he's got over here for his lesson of the day. So Neil, what's that lesson for today?
Yeah, well, it's a chop is some of the lesson, because that's what the market was early. But the other part of it too is sometimes there's these days where you get the expectations after yesterday, and you looked at something as crazy as Fastly. The continuation on some of these earnings longs or shorts has been unbelievable. And then you looked at the overall volatility the market had, and you get two things. One, the gap up earnings names were trash. Two, the volatility that we saw yesterday in like silver and in the overall market, non-existent through the open. So what you might have been planning for your best opportunities might not have been there. And I heard Joe say this too. It's like sometimes it might be like that. Like I personally have traded 6 stocks and it was like 3 green, 3 red, and it just felt like a really choppy morning. And sometimes, look at like Roku. There's your, like how many people were probably looking at a Roku for a potential hold the gap and go? And right away, this is like, well, that's gone if you were thinking that there'd be a continuation play long in a Roku. Maybe, so forget about them. Maybe you thought Bros was similar. Oh, right, no, denied. Take out the bid and just completely flush down. So you're thinking continuation plays on the stocks that were strong after earnings? Forget about it. You're not gonna have it. Or you can look at something like what wasn't doing anything on earnings? Coin. Like if you didn't have, Coinbase is probably the one that I feel as if you didn't have this and looking at earnings, there really wasn't much to sink your teeth into. And I get it, probably should have reprioritized this one. When we saw it going in the pre-market, I know we had talked about 156, but if it's part of your plan, it's part of your plan. If it's not, it's not. What I'm trying to get at here is, if you were looking at any generic watch or any watch list, in terms of what was looking bullish and looking bearish, some of the things that had that set up, which had worked sometimes in earnings season, they really didn't pan out today. So you know what? It's okay if you just didn't trade them. I saw a lot of people say they might have taken, not take the morning off, but just take a few less trades, not be as involved because things weren't as clear. It was obviously a fantastic opportunity yesterday to trade. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Right? Like the momentum plays that were available yesterday after that flush were better than, for myself, better than anything that happened at any point this month. And you make the argument of any point in January as well. Well, sometimes after a day like that, you're just not going to be able to recreate that magic. You'd have to be in a very particular spot. Like I said, if Coinbase was your jam, if the reversal in Bitcoin, there's certain things that were out there, but it's okay. It was an outlier day yesterday. You know, if you were trading silver yesterday, it was an outlier day. If you were trading silver today, again, if you had it at the open for a short or maybe some smaller scalp shorts, fine. But if you were trying to hit a home run, you probably just got chopped up or you're just sitting there waiting for it to do something. And ultimately, that's all right. And probably say this more on Fridays than anything else, but you do have to be willing to sit out some moves or be really particular about your trades or accept when you're just gonna have a flat day. I find it happens a lot where if you have like the best day in the month or the best opportunity day in the month or whatever it might be, the next day can be a little bit of a disappointment. But it's only a disappointment, in my opinion, if you try to make more out of the day than is there. Like, you try to somehow squeeze the moves in silver that were, you can't do it. It's not there. You just end up over trading if you try to anchor yourself to that, and you get yourself into a world of trouble. So again, it just comes down to executing your plan of action. And I get it. Like, I felt the same way this morning. Oh, this won't break through. It's like, oh, I had that Apple short at 60 and it's only going $1. Apple was down 5%. This thing can't even go 0.5% now. It's not yesterday. It isn't. So it is what it is. Eventually, it was only giving you the bot. What are you supposed to do? That's all you can take. On Apple, that's less than half of 1%. That's the trade. The trade is whatever it happens to be and what the market tries to give you. That's the difficulty with going in with expectations of what the market is going to do. You can go in with your plan, but that's all it is. It's a plan. The market's going to move as much as it's going to move. That stock you're trading is going to move as much as it's going to move. And you can't anchor it to the volatility that you saw yesterday. I wish we could get a day like yesterday momentum-wise every day, but that's not how the world works. That's not how the market works. And you can just sit there and take what is in front of you. So I know it can feel like a letdown, but you know what? If you didn't force the action and you sort of stuck to your plan, then that should be good. And if it ends up being a flat day, just be able to live with that. The volatility is still here. We will have days that have the opportunities like yesterday. And there were some, again, Coinbase, maybe Bitcoin if you were looking long. But you have to be patient, and you got to be able to keep things in perspective. This is usually the time at the end of the lesson where I tell you, and you know, I haven't dug into the lunch, and I've already finished it. So I ate all of the chili. It was solid without much spice, and then there was like a little corn salad thing that had way too many onions in it. Way too many onions, but I ate it all anyway. So very delicious. Well, I shouldn't say very delicious. I'll give it like an 8 out of 10. But I was also pretty hungry. So we'll send you guys back to the midday. Don't be disappointed when you get an inside day. Sometimes the market's not going to do what you want, and your job is just to take what you can get. Good luck, everybody.
Thank you very
Out
much.
of 10, it's pretty good though. That's a high score. It's a pretty high score, man.
I think so.
Like, you know how, see, you know how, like, if Dave Portnoy would have ranked it, he gives a little bit more tough. He's not as lenient with the score.
He has like a 0.1 decimal place, like 8.3.
You don't like that? You don't agree with? We need detail.
I don't know,
we
man.
Need the detail.
How do you
know what I mean?
like? What's the objective standard for a 10.4 or 10.5? You know what I mean? Like,
because it's 0.1 better. It is 0.1 better. You know what I mean? A little extra, like, just like one bite and it's slightly more crunchy. It deserves that 0.1. If it's not as crunchy, maybe fall a couple basis points to the downside. Fair. All right. Let's see. What we got? Because for me, okay, sidetrack now. Batty Alleys is easily a 9.3.
9.3.
Okay, you go over to north of Brooklyn. 8.7.
Oh.
8.7. Okay, difference, big difference there, 3.6. 0.6. All right. So, anyways, I know a lot of people like north of Brooklyn.
You're specific about your food. I get that.
Very specific. A lot of people think north of Brooklyn is better than Batty Alleys. All right, moving on. I was gonna say
it's gonna tilt him.
Yeah, I was gonna say something. You need to be checked in. You need to be checked into the ward if you think that north of Brooklyn is better than Batty Alleys.
Chem H? Essential for mental health and addiction.
It's right down the street.
Down.
It's right down the street. It's right there. So once you pick it up, we can drop you off right there.
Boom.
All right, guys, let's take a look at what we got going on. The market is steady grinding higher. Are we going to get that move back to the downside? I don't know if we want to counter this right now. You can see Rivian starting to come in a little bit, and FSLI continuing its ascent to the top side. I think maybe you can run into $19 at this point. So TQQ's SPY, I did have my eyes on Apple, but when something is like, hey, what is the specific direction in this, and you can't really depict what it is, no point in really trading it. So unless we're really going to break down here, and I don't know if that's going to be the narrative, we've been trading within this range. Is this correct, or is my market delayed? Okay, no, so yeah, that is. So we're right back at the top end of the range, and it's like, okay, where are we moving? It's sideways. So maybe it's best, I like what Neil was saying, inside day, and if the market isn't giving you the opportunities, don't try to milk a stone or beat a dead horse.
All right, KC526, as always, coming in fast, coming in furious. Seg, headline, up 11 1/5. Here it is. Unlocks $20 million in annual revenue by finalizing to secure controlling interest in Veloz Media Group. Doesn't matter. It's got a headline. The market's reacting. It's still light on volume, 585,000. We're talking about SEGG, Sports Entertainment Gambling, $23 million market cap. Thank you, KC526, for that call out. All right, we're doing it freaking live here, man. We added nicely NATOM. I'm trying to accumulate shares on the dip, and that's what I've been doing. getting shares on the dip, wetting the beak here, as I feel this one is poised for a breakout. There it is, and as I say it, into the high. Go ahead, go on, as Mike Pediarider says. Go on, ATOM. There it is into 85. We have 69 or 68. Oh, come on, we only have 68, bro. Let's go, man. Let's set up at 88 over here. Looking for the move up. 87's high, right back into 84. Looking for a continuation into 4. So we built the position kind of with the bias that the higher lows were operative. I added several times into this one and wet the beak several times as well. We're not going to let this one off the ropes, man. But down it goes, just like Frazier, into 76. to 76. We do have 68s on, so I'm going to be trying to get a little bit more in if it's available for me and at the right area. So we're going to pack the patience there. Let's go back to MLEC for a second over here, because yeah, this one was the bamboozler in chief. I hope too many people didn't get caught offside on this one, as I was trading it quite aggressively and then it dropped very, very hard. But it is holding generally that lower trend line that we drew. Let me bring it in and show you exactly what I mean there. MLEC. Straddling VWAP currently from the south side and having trouble with that 10 and again, let alone the 10.5. We haven't gotten to that 10.5 flat top break yet. But the point is, you know, this one's got outsized moves both ways, right? We saw that early on. We saw that right at 905, pops up into the pre-market high, drops all the way down, basically loses VWAP and then some, barely holds on to 8, and then that's when the price action started getting, you know, a little bit clearer with the higher lows. It had multiple attempts of failed VWAP breaks, and then we definitely got a VWAP break and then some on this one. So again, I think the right move here is to try to build your position on MLEC on these higher lows. Look for the hold of that trend line with the view that this one may price spike up and do what it did into that 12.23. That is the official high of day. So shout out to MLEC. Let's see if we can do it live again on this one. How we doing, though, on Atom? As we still got shares into this one. Back in the 78 we go. Prior bar high is 84. High of the day, 87. Okay, I have to keep my eye out here on PHIO because it's below VWAP and coming into that 10 EMA on the 5. I don't like this. I'm out. I'm going to take it out here for a 3-penny loss. That's all right. We'll focus here on ATOM as this one zigs and zags. What do we got? We got 68 showing me 82s. Not a bad look, not a bad look. Looking for a move here. Now I'm trying to decide if I should be adding more here. Okay? We have a lower high. That's the thing that's keeping me kind of watching this. I'm worried about a double top because we have 84 high on the prior bar and then the high of the day at 11.25 was 87. So if we get that double top, then I'll be caught offside adding into the high. So I'm keeping a close eye on that. I haven't made a decision how I want to trade this. That's one thing I wanted to mention there. And then the other one, the OG Bovin. I already had my eyes on this one, but I had removed it from the side chart because I needed room. The OG Bovin pointed out that JDZG, one we were trading yesterday, and it had a lot of price action. Look at that. Look at the movement there. Back in focus today and also up a healthy, very healthy 65%. And this one had a very good aftermarket. Not that great of a pre-market though. It popped up, took out yesterday's highs and then dropped all the way back down. That's all within about like probably 10 seconds at 4 a.m. Spiked all the way up. And then by the time all was said and done, the official low of the day at 940 is $1.80. We're showing 282, 288 high, but I'll submit to you that 4 a.m. candle, which did about 306,000 shares of volume, has a high of 330. So let's see how we deal with 3, but I'm going to keep my eye on this one for sure. Just really haven't decided how I'm going to weasel into it. And there comes MLEC again. So MLEC is holding, number 1, holding the trend line that we drew. Number 2, it's clearing 10, and it looks like it's going to start doing that 10.5 dance that it's been doing all morning. We'll see if it clears 10.5 in the same way that it did it over here. But that's not guaranteed either. So we'll keep tabs on that. Shout out to my man Benton. Did we have a painful Arsenal top? Dude, that team. Bro, what is Mascara doing? Why is Mascara on the field? Why is Hinakape on the field? I get Saliba suspended. Fine. MLEC's breaking out, guys. Right when I was Gonna vent out about Arsenal. MLEC is breaking out into 1075. It looks like it's clearing 10.5. Be on the lookout here. But Mascara played horribly. He got beat every single time he was one-on-one with a defender. And then Calafiore is on the bench, a great attacking back. Why is Hinakape on there, man? I get Hinakape had the cross to Medeweke. It looked good, but that was like the only good play he did the entire game. I'm not a big fan of Hinakape on left wing. I think we brought him in to be center back. I don't know why Arteta keeps playing him left wing. I know he plays left wing for Ecuador, but I don't want him there. Left back, I mean, not left wing. He's not the guy, man. He doesn't have the speed, right? He doesn't have those, venturing runs into the middle of the field like Calafiore does. Calafiore is just a better attacking left back than Hinakape, and I just didn't want to see Hinakape on there. He should be for reserves and reserves only, so.
Tell him, Sharif.
Man, his name is Mascara, Curtis, okay? It just happens to be that way. I don't make up the rules. Joey.
Get Mascara.
I'm pissed about that.
Yeah, it's pissed, man. Hey, man. All right, brother.
That, man.
We'll hit this for you. That's right. We haven't hit that today, so we'll hit that one. What?
I just laugh at what people say in the chat. Get it, farm trader. You got a good one here, man. He's in MLEC, man. He's in, and it's breaking out. Let's see if it clears 11. Got higher lows, got higher highs, Joey. There's nothing to complain about this.
Nothing to complain about there. All right. Yeah, we like that. Let's see. Hold on here. Give me a second. I've been out of the chat for a hot minute. I didn't even mean to do that. All right. What do we got going on here? TQQs, are we slowly starting to turn over? What are the big boys up to? Once again, if you're going to be trading this, guys, you have to keep an eye out on that. 20 cents worth of risk, not horrible. We could probably post up at 49.20s. There you go. You catch the fill already. A nice steady uptrend. Are we going to start forming a base? Maybe. Somewhat of a topping base, that is, and then you get that curl over back into the volume-weighted average price. It feels like one of those days, right? But again, it could just be a nice steady uptrend to the top side. 5-minute Apple short entry. Let's see what Apple is up to. I've seen that it broke up momentarily there, Gorev, and I've been keeping my eyes on it, but I'm like, what am I really doing here? I don't know, Sharif. You gotta ask yourself that sometimes. So Apple 5-minute, yeah, a nice little indecision there. It did break out. There's very low volume today, guys, on this one. It's hard to depict it. Like, there's so many better trending names. If we go into iBit, I was looking at iBit. Do we really want to hop into this and like, hey, like, really, what is going on here? Typically, if this was an AAPL, would you look at the stock and be like, let me get involved, man. This is money, money, money. Maybe if you're a range trader, but not necessarily my cup of tea right now. But I could be totally wrong, and for my sake and your sake, I hope that you do get that breakdown there, Gorev. You're in the right idea, right? Because there's a weekday. Yesterday, really strong bearish day as well, too. So maybe you can get that continuation, but you also have to take into consideration the support zones. And there it goes, a nice little pop to the top side, 259, maybe somewhat of a steady grind. Ghostly. GG, what's up, GG? $1.99 super chat. Thank you very much. Nothing behind it, so if you have anything, just put it in the chat. No need to do that once again. So thank you very, very much for that donation there. Oh, who's this? Lele Love Cools. Take a look at Mara and Rivian. Sure. Oh, it's Leanne. Why'd you switch your name up, Leanne? I don't think we know who you are. We know who you are. People don't forget.
People don't forget.
Yeah, exactly. So there it is, daily on Mara. This thing has like an $8 price target, maybe even a little bit less than that. But don't expect this to outperform anything right now, especially when Bitcoin has been getting destroyed, right? $23. We thought this breakout would be sustained. You're down 67%. Roughly around, I think Bitcoin's around that right now. We're definitely at a 50% haircut on BTC. Let's get an exact measurement here, guys, to see how much off of the top we actually are. 69,000, maybe a little bit less. 45%. Yay, fun stuff. All right, yeah, so let's see what else we got going on. Pins, are you ready to curl over? And maybe we can take another opportunity to the short side. I don't know how deep these pullbacks are going to be, so you have to be prepared. So what happened in my, it's a mistake, right? Like, I thought we'd get a little bit more of a continuation. We've seen the weakness in the overall market. This thing was down 20% at one point, and I'm like, oh, we're really going to go and test this low day. We'll put us around $14 and $13.90, but we never got that. I was still holding the majority of my position when I got stopped out a little bit below my break even. We took some off. It's like 2.5%, 2.5%. Looking for that bigger move into 1388. We weren't fortunate enough to get it. What Neil was saying earlier in the day, you have to take what the market is going to give you. And imagine I decided to hold the majority of this position all the way up here. I'm not going to beg, hold that. That's not fun. You're not going to have a good time, and you're going to be like, POA, but all this garbage and bleep bleep and all that and all this stuff. Yeah, we don't want to partake in that, right? So we want to find some high quality opportunities, and we're going to stick with that.
My man.
We did. I think we went over that. Oh, another one. Oh, Adam, all-time high. Yeah, Sharif's in that one there.
Am I not plugged in, Assassino? I apologize, brother. Just give me a sec. Let me resolve this trade here. I'm back in MLEC here at 42s. We just wet the beak there at 77s. Looking for now a continuation into 11 and change. Let's go ahead and place the order. Anything below my in, I'm out. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll give it a little bit of room there. So let's see if MLEC's got the juice to hold some of these levels here. I've been trying to pack the patience on MLEC, looking for the right entry. There's 70 again. Can we clear the 77 seller? That's where I wet the beak. 75, looking for continuation here, guys, into 11 and possibly, well, I'm posted up at 11 and a quarter. Let's see if 50 pennies from here, essentially. The spread is tightened up. It's, 7 pennies at the moment, but that's not too bad. It's done a fair amount of volume, 40 and 2/3. There's 78, 79 now. Let's see if we can get a little bit higher. I'm looking for a move into 11. If we reject 11, I may want to take this out. So we're going to pack the patience. We're going to go to Adara, and then we're going to see how MLEC resolves.
Beware, I'm still seeing some comments from U.S. President Trump. Again, he's set to actually deliver some remarks at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. So these are just kind of offhand comments here, very likely with Air Force or just on the White House lawn. But he's talking about Iran. He's talking about Iraq. The reason I'm bringing it over here is because he just said, quote, we're negotiating right now for Greenland. Now, we knew that they were already trying to do these Greenland negotiations. We already had that pop in the market when this came out, going back a couple weeks now, I guess early January. But either way here, CRML is on watch here. Critical metal, they do operate in Greenland. So potentially, if you're looking for that move potentially on the Greenland story, this could be the one to watch. Back to you.
You know what I noticed is that once when he came back from Davos, remember he met with the NATO Secretary General, that guy that called him Daddy. We never really found out what he got, because he said, essentially it was resolved that he was going to get what he wanted there. He didn't say anything about ownership, but we never really found out the details of the meeting between them. Like, why did he back off? Because he had been pretty aggressive until that point. Guys, MLEC is going. It just rejected 11. Current bar high. God, I hate this freaking thing. MLEC, let me just see over here because it's not working on that one. So I got to see what the current bar high is. Here it comes back down, and obviously it's taking forever to load. Yeah, these platforms, certainly, they could do a little bit better here, Joey. So current bar high, 1092. So it did reject 11, back down into 3/4. So continuing to watch here. Now, if we get above 11, I may add into this. But I'm just going to continue to watch over here. We're about 30 pennies in the money or so. So we have a nice little buffer, and I've already put my stop below my out by a couple of shekels. So if this drops back down, we'll get out and we'll be positive on it. But I am looking for a move, an aggressive move above 11 that I can add into this position on. It's 110% in the Ville of Green, so it's going to be on a lot of people's radar. So keeping an eye on that, Joey.
All right, good stuff, guys. So, yeah, you can see that we're starting to get some pullbacks. The breakdown that I was looking for, yeah, Sharif, I don't know what I'm like frozen here for some reason. Okay, I'm not there. There we go. F-Sly starting to come back in. Some topping tail signals. And then here we are. We have a consolidation, and we break through some. You can see it on the lower time frame. Like, you consolidate up here, and then you break through that support. So what do? We wait for a retest of this zone, and then maybe we can get a little bit of a move back towards the volume-weighted average price. F-Sly looks like it wants to head in that direction. So we'll keep an eye on that. Inverted hammer candle on the 10-minute. I've been looking at the 10-minute as of late, just because you guys notice that I've been holding, whenever I'm in a position, I've been holding it for a little bit longer, and I want to try to eliminate some of the noise, right? So any form of a sustained pullback here in pins, I think I'm going to try to get involved in the short one more time and come back into this range, 1497, and then maybe even towards the low of the day. So this could be a squeeze. The Nazi boys playing a little bit of games here. You know how I feel about the Nazi lads over there at the New York Stock Exchange. So let's be patient.
Okay.
1876. We've been paid. It's 12:30, and I don't think I've been in a position really throughout the whole intraday session. So at this point now, with an hour and a half left, what rush am I really in to get into something, right? Like, this is what we're trying to do: is find higher quality opportunities all week. It's been pretty solid for us, and we don't want to just force something. I do want to get involved into pins, I think, one more time at this point, but I have to wait for the right time. I'm not going to chase it all the way down here because now that's good. There we go. A nice little pop to the top side. This is what I'm talking about. You wait for things to come into your, wait for it like a tiger or a panther, right? Sharif in the trees, just waiting to pounce for that opportunity. Allow the stock to come to you, and if it doesn't, guess what? There's going to be another opportunity to get involved. So there's the TQQs. Nice, steady. What in price action is telling us that we're turning around right now? Is it similar to what we're experiencing here in FSLI? Now, if we go over to the 1 minute, it's kind of identical in what we were experiencing in pins and FSLI. You get those pullbacks. We don't see that right now in the TQQs, all right? So I'm just hovering in those trees, and I'm waiting for the stocks that I'm looking at to maybe get a move back towards the volume-weighted average price to get back to me, all right? That's what I got going on. Rivian continuing to climb a little bit higher. It may or may not work considering it's a steady grind. We had a pretty aggressive selling session yesterday. Doesn't seem to be the case, but if you want to ask me, in my opinion, this is pretty weak. This is weak sauce rally, the Temu rally, as the chat would like to typically say, right? Like, we're still inside yesterday's session. We're in the area of key support levels. Condor land, Condor land, Condor land. I've been saying this for quite some time now. This is an eastward move. If we do get that break into 44, I think at some point we're just prolonging it. Temu rebound. We don't want any part of that right now, Sharif.
MLEC may be giving you an opportunity here, guys. It's holding off that 9 3/4, and that 9 3/4 is the support level of that upper trend line. Whew. So that's where I got out there. I got out at 10.5 as it got close to my entry, but this is a good opportunity here possibly on MLEC. This is what I'm looking at. So this is kind of why I'm pontificating about this. There it is. So it keeps holding up this, holding above this upper trend. Well, it's an upper trend line. It's heading up, but it's lower than that trend line. So that's kind of what I mean by that. Below 975, I'd just get out. So you'd risk 25 pennies over here. I'd give it to prior bar low. The prior bar low is 970, so maybe 69, something like that. Keep your eye out on this one. I'm thinking about getting back in as well. I got back into Atom, ATOM, because what do we got? 62s. All right, so let's set up some profit takers on this one. The reason is, it's just really close to the prior area low, and I have a bias. This is consolidating, and so I've given it to the area low, which is 54. So if it breaks 54, I'm out. But I'm going to keep watching ATOM. I'm also watching PHIO. The OG Bovin was telling me that this one could be breaking trend. I have a bit of a bias that this one is not, because I think it's luring you in with these higher lows above the volume-weighted average price, but the trend is still lower. Moreover, the volume profile is falling off a cliff. Like, we were doing real volume here, 463,000, 200,000, and now we're doing bupkis, man, 86,000. This current candle's got 32. So the volume is dropping off. I get it's above the volume-weighted average price, but it's currently not respecting or hasn't been respecting VWAP or the 10 EMA on the day, nor has it really respected price action support and resistance. I mean, like, what the hell is this bouncing off here? Maybe the $0.50. Okay, maybe that was it. The $0.50, it finds support there, and then it kind of makes higher highs and higher lows. So maybe psychological support, that's where it was finding its footing. I don't have a good read on it. And as a result, I'm not going to really want to jump into PHIO with the same aggression. It's my only negative stock on the day. But we're, if it's the one worth getting back into, I'll get back in.
Ramin here today?
No.
That's a serious question.
Chuckle. Yeah. Had nothing to do with you, bro. It has nothing to do with you. I just tease her all the time, bro. Like, her desk was empty today. I'm like, good morning, Ram.
So
hard at work, Ram. She's not here.
Did you type it on the screen?
What do you mean?
Remember when you were messing with her screen, you typed it in?
Yeah, no, it's not even on. Okay. That's when she works from home. I think she has the day off.
Okay, she has the day off.
Ragging on her for no reason.
Oh, extra long weekend for
there you go, like your boy Katina.
Katina man as well, too. He's at hockey as well, too.
Sir.
They got the W. He was telling me about that, so bang, bang, bang.
Oh, they got the dub? Sweet.
Yeah, they got it's always good to start off the weekend. Kitchener, I believe.
Kitchener, big up.
Kitchener,
you used to do that all the time?
What, big
Lennox
up?
Lewis. Kitchener, Waterloo, big up.
Yeah,
remember? Because he was from there.
Does his mom still live there?
I actually don't know, bro.
I think
That's
so.
a good question. He was in the Olympics for Canada. And then when he was a professional fighter, he fought under the British flag.
British flag there.
He's got many nationalities. I think he's one of the best heavyweight champions. The underrated
Lennox.
heavy. Yes,
I
man.
love Lennox.
He beat everybody he ever faced. He lost to, I think, Oliver McCall and Hasim Rahman, and he beat both their asses.
There's this one combination he does on Shannon Briggs. He's just like slipping, takes a couple.
Shannon Briggs started
and he's
crying
just
in that fight. Shannon Briggs started crying in that fight. It was so weird.
Shannon Briggs just like drops. He just like roll, takes one, pop.
Shannon Briggs was a good fighter too.
He was a good fighter,
but I think he had some. Yeah, he had some
that?
demons he was fighting.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
I think
man.
a lot of the boys there have some demons that they're fighting, man.
Tough life, brother. Bovin, the market is closed on Monday, brother. It is an official holiday. The Amex, the Nasdaq, the NYSE, they're all closed. Hey, calm down there, Neil. So we won't be here on Monday, but of course, other world markets are open. So, if the hand starts shaking and you need to punch into a position.
You get into TSX, or you can hop on and trade some
there you go.
crypto, as the late great Charlie Munger would say, crypto crapo.
Oh, yeah, they don't like that. Okay, probably a silly question, but do you guys look at Asia and London markets before trading? I only accidentally do because I put on Worldwide Exchange with Morgan Brennan in the morning, and so while I put that on, because I get up, close to 5, they have the European, I think, Squawk Box wrapping up. So I just see kind of what the FTSE, what some of the other European exchanges are doing. I don't purposely do it, but just by habit, I get to see what's going on, and also the Asian markets as well, which I think are closing or closed by then. You see the Nikkei, the Hang Seng, the Kospi, see what they're up to as well. Mike Peterwider watches the Asia Open. You don't know who Morgan Brennan is, Grunfeld? That's cap.
Grunfeld's a vampire.
That's pure cap. Of course you know who Morgan Brennan is. Shout out to Bovin. That's what I'll be doing. Other markets, no, Bovin. I'm going to have a nice family day. I'm weaseling up on the Markham.
Oh, bang.
Yeah, we're going to chill out at the old man and the old Mom Duke's house there.
Right on.
And then I'll go do my Costco run, a.k.a. their pantry. The best Costco runs are my parents'
go-to
pantries.
thing from my grandma's house is cheese. She always got the bricks of cheese on deck.
Oh, there it is, man. Does she make her own cheese?
No.
No? Yeah, my old man does.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah, he does. Makes
feta.
feta.
Well, you're going there on Monday, so see if you can bring your boy back.
You want me to bring you back some feta?
Absolutely.
He makes feta from scratch. I'm not even kidding.
Throw that in the
all right.
enchilada.
You like feta?
Of course.
Okay.
Throw that in the salad.
Monday you're going to have feta.
Throw that in the Greek salad.
Tuesday, you're going to have feta.
Right, Tuesday. I prefer Monday, but if I have to wait till Tuesday, then we'll do that.
Hey, all right. All right, guys. Adam, not looking so good. Okay, so we did get one beak witter there, but it coming back down into the range. I'm not going to allow this to go against me. It loses 54. I'm out, showing 58s. There's 55. This one could be headed to VWAP and the $0.50. If it is, it'll go without me. And then if it wants to hold up at VWAP and then, reset, we'll have another look there. But I think FIO is starting to look a little bit better, and I think people are rotating out of this. Let me cancel that and get back into FIO over here. FIO is looking real good with a 4-candle hold now above the 10 EMA on the 5. Let's see if this one wants to break out. We're in at 62, 63, okay? If this one wants to go, it's got a 75 penny high, but we saw what it did at the 2/3 of a dollar, had umpteen amount of topping tail candles, so this one could catch you offside. Be careful. Your older man deliver cheese. Nah, man, I go pick it up from there, man. I'm going to see him. I can't ask my old man to deliver cheese. That's crazy. He doesn't even drive anymore, guys. But, that's a different story for a different time. Joey, what are you looking at?
All right, man. Yeah, I'm same names here. Slow curl over. In pins, that is. It's like, hey, do you want to kind of get a move back towards the volume weighted average price in Rivian? But this is a stair-step pattern, right? A, B, C, D, A, B, C, maybe take an additional leg higher. But pins is slowly starting. What we can do is use 23 as our outs. So we may as well to see if we're going to get somewhat of a breakdown. I don't mind having 23 or 25 as my out. So about 9 or 10 cents though, right? 9. But yeah, we'll give it 26, right? Okay. Oh, it's going. Oh no, wrong button. A hockey error by Joe incoming, right there. There it is. Oh, we get a nice little pop there. We like that one. Let's just get out of that. Bang. We'll take a couple cents on the wrong side of things. See, when you're having a bad trading day, I remember what they told me is like, if you can't figure it out, just flip your screen upside down. If everything you do is essentially always wrong, and then if you flip it upside down, then maybe hopefully you'll be right at some point. So a nice little flip up there, Sharif. Being extremely sarcastic on that front, it's not a good thing. If you're in that, then you just got to continuously work on your strategy, okay? But let's get involved here.
Get involved, Joey.
Let's get involved to the short side. Once again, 26 is going to be our out there. We're going to put up on the original size and what we're looking for here and see if we can catch a fill at some point. I don't know. Why would I want that price? That makes zero sense.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's insane sometimes, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, we're having a good time. It's Friday there. Let's see if we can get it around 17s. We're posted up at 17s here on pins. Looking for a little bit move lower. The market's still a steady grind. So if any large participant wants to step in and say, hey, we're going to send the market to the downside, I think they'll have the ability to do so. Okay? So pins, that's what we're looking at, our plan of action. We're in substantially better than our previous price, which is around 1480. Now we're looking at 1517s. All right, as it's starting to go, it might go without me here. Dog's breakfast, Sharif. Oh, it's one of those ones. We ain't chasing anything around here because that's what we don't. We allow price to come to us. So you got to practice what you preach at this point. 2 pennies away. I think we can catch a fill. There it is. So we're short some pins. Let's see if we can get a breakdown. 27, we're out of Dodge.
All right, guys, continuing to watch PHIO. I got back into MLEC as well. We're going baby shares. I'm looking for a hold of prior bar, and I want to see a breach of 10. But as this one's price action was developing, there is a staunchy seller literally at the $10 level. Like, I don't think we've breached $10 on the current candle. 998 current candle. Prior bar did breach it momentarily, 10.05. I've given it to prior bar low, which takes us into 65. That's prior bar low. Current bar low is 71. Here comes back, 92 again, showing up, looking for a break of 10 here, and a price spike. There it is into 10.05. No continuation. Aggressive selling, 10.15. Let's see if it moves up into 10.25. I'm not taking it out here. Let's see if it can price spike up into 10.25, 10.09. Their selling's coming in quite aggressively. 10.14, can we get a little bit higher? Doesn't look like we can. We'll take it out here. We'll cancel the 25. We'll move it up a little bit, okay? We'll send it up into the third of a dollar. Let's see now. We're not getting continuation. We're dropping back down into 10, okay? Holding 10 for now, showing 10.10 on the ask. But there isn't that kind of aggressive price action. Watch out for a bottom drop here, okay? Just telling you to be on the lookout for it. I'm not saying it will. Sometimes when it lures you above the level, they're luring you above the level to get people long, only to drop it short. This one hasn't shown that on the day, but that doesn't mean that it can't happen, okay? So continuing to watch here, we're holding above 10. There it is into the quarter dollar. We've got 95s on, looking for continuation into the third of a dollar now. We still haven't printed that. So current bar high, 10.25. Looking for more. There it is again into 22. Let's see if we can pop up a little bit more here. Fantastic, Assassino. Yes, okay, we're going to do that. I just want to resolve this trade. There's the third. There it is, Joey, into the third of a dollar again. There we go. Now we're waiting at, you know where we're waiting, man. We're waiting at 69er, and if 69 clears, I'm going to add into this position like a psycho. Okay, we're going to see what this one can do. Prior area high, mind you, that's a red candle at 12.25. The high of which there is 10.95, 10.92, something like that. Can't quite tell. Now, we're moving up the stop now, right? Because we want to lock in the profit. So we're going to go 9.89. And then we're going to give it to 980 for the last remaining shares on that one. So we're going to risk about, yeah, we're going to risk 6 pennies. Let's see if this one holds up above the level. And then who? Oh, 1 second. Casey 526. She does it live. She does it often.
OG.
And she is an OG, bro. We love Casey 526. Shout out to Case. Thank you very much, Casey, for the 5 premium Trader TV Live memberships. You guys, let's see who got them. Buvin, you got a membership, man. Okay, my man Buvin got one. Peng got one. CG 2383 got one. None of your business got one. Demarist 003, you got one.
003, I like that.
Yeah, I like when they call what's his name, James Bond 000, like in a condescending way. He's like, you 000, because like you're crap, right? Like you call him a 000.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me show them quick where you guys can get the morning note. So this is the Trader TV Live homepage. You click on YouTube, you click obviously come to our homepage, click posts right there. So you're in home by default, click posts, weasel on down. Members only, you're gonna see this rectangle here. It says morning market brief, members only, click read more. And there she is right there. You click that, special Google Drive. You get my morning note every single morning sent out basically 10 minutes or so before we go live. So shout out.
Who's your favorite James Bond?
We're going to do this again?
But that's a genuine question.
It's not even close. It's Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
It's not even close.
Okay.
Yeah. Sean Connery. And then I like, Pierce Brosnan because I was growing up. And he was doing it live in the 90s, right, with GoldenEye and stuff like that.
Was he ever doing it live, man?
He was doing it live, Joey. But I also like, what's that guy from the 70s called, Neil? Neil, who was the James Bond in the 70s after Sean Connery? Roger Moore, thank you very much. It was the 80s. It was Roger Moore. He was okay. What do you think about Daniel Craig?
He's a great James Bond.
Why are you laughing? What's going on? Is there an inside joke I'm not aware of?
No.
Or is it because of the thing that we did last time?
Yeah, maybe.
This guy. Can we, Fabian, can we put in a poll for favorite James Bond? So,
we've done this before.
We're going to do it again. So what, was it a year ago?
Probably around
around a year ago. Yeah. If we can, Fabian, favorite James Bond. Obviously, I'll leave it to dealer's choice. Choose whichever ones you want, Fabian, to put on there.
You can't just choose whatever ones we have. There's only 3 that can really go in.
You can only put 4. So we're going to say Sean Connery.
Yeah.
We're going to say Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
We're going to say Daniel Craig and Roger Moore. Is that good?
I wasn't even in the time around Roger Moore, but we'll throw it in
you
there.
can't go and watch those movies?
I think, I think it's more debatable as who was the best Batman. Who do you think was the best Batman?
I don't know, bro. I remember watching Batman, like the one from like 1990, the original series. Who was that?
Yeah.
I forget what was his name, like Michael Keaton or something like that.
Keaton's up there.
I personally don't. I'm not a big Batman fan.
No?
Yeah, it's okay. I don't mind it. It's
Who's or George? George, you think?
George Clooney?
Yeah, you think he was a good Batman?
Adara has some opinions. Let's get Adara's opinion on
George Clooney's the worst Batman, to the point where apparently he's even taken it off his resume. He doesn't want to talk about it. The costume was bad. Joel Schumacher made a mess of it. He made a Joel Schumachery of that movie. And yeah, I mean, like, I have a friend who really vouches for the Val Kilmer Batman.
Yeah,
I don't.
Val Kilmer.
I like Adam West 1966. I also enjoyed Christian Bale's take on the character. And Robert Pattinson, I'm quite impressed by so far.
There you go.
Okay.
An exhaustive list of
Batman.
Well, maybe non-exhaustive there, but yeah.
Well,
what's that?
That's a pretty big list.
It's a pretty big list, man. I like the TV series from Batman. So if you want me to give my opinion on Batman and Robin, I like the '60s series, which these are based off, by the way. All these animations are based off that.
Dude, I watched it was a clip of there, and they're like, man, things were looking tough at that time. There's like a shark attached to like Batman's leg, and did you see that?
You can't ask for graphics and stuff. Give him a break, bro. It's the 60s. What's that, Assassino?
It's the magic of it.
It's the magic of it. Yeah, look, dude, I mean, come on. We can't expect that kind of technology back then. It wasn't around. Guys, MLEC is destined here. I think MLEC is on the rampage. It wants to take out highs. This is getting aggressive. Look, it does have 2 lower highs in a row that I am concerned about, but it also has higher lows, excuse me. So that area high there that we got into, that was a 12.23. That's official high day. And then we got into about 10 mid-90s, and then we rejected. And now we're rejecting, I think, the 40 penny area. So we do have lower highs, but we have higher lows. So be on the lookout here. MLEC could be, destined to come back into that 11, maybe even 12. Who knows? But it's still going here. I don't think MLEC is done, and there are still good trades to be had on this one. So keep your eye out on that. At Nerd, the best Batman was and will always be Christian Bale. All right, man. Tell me how you really feel. I like that. If whoever has an opinion, tag myself or Joe, will read it out. Anudrug, his name is now. Best Batman was from Batman, the animated series, so not a person. I like that. I like, to be quite honest with you, if you're looking at vigilante superheroes, I like Iron Man, obviously.
Like Iron Man.
Yeah. I like
you like
Iron
Tony
Man.
Stark.
Because he's technology, he's tech inclined, he's smart, he's great with women. You know what I mean? So he's got the gauntlet.
I don't think he's really known as a. I would go with like Batman being a little bit more of a.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt from the movies it seemed like he was pretty inclined.
But he had like he was just rolling with
Gwyneth
one the whole
Paltrow?
time. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. What do the comics say about that though? Is he gallivanting in the comics or no?
I wouldn't know. Is he?
No, I don't know. I'm asking, bro. It's not my world at all. I gotta tell you the truth.
I think if we're going down that road, we got to go James Bond there.
You gotta go James Bond, but he's not a superhero, right?
He's close.
He's a spy.
Yeah, he's a good spy.
Espionage.
You know what I mean?
Espionage.
Yeah, all right, guys. Yeah, I mean, we could go on all day about this.
We're having a good time, baby.
Pins. Batman,
Get it, Joey.
Batman, I think, 007. If I could be Batman or 007, I would probably be 00.
You'd be 000?
Yeah, over Batman.
I'd be Iron Man, man. You fly around, bro. You got a suit. You got umpteen amounts of cash, and you have a lab, tech lab.
No, but Bond has unlimited cash too.
He does.
Right?
He does.
You know what I mean? So
he has the government's money.
Right yeah, it's cool. That's even better.
That's even better. You're spending the government's money.
Exactly. There you go. All right, guys. Pin starting to move a little bit lower there. 00 Joey. Yeah, exactly. So pins, guys, starting to move a little bit lower. Let's see if we can get this move to be sustained. I feel like we peaked out. We talked about that top. And then why did I finally decide to engage in this one? Well, because we formed this and then we failed to construct a new high. So we pushed price higher and that grind wasn't continued, okay? So there it is, boom, a little bit of a move lower. And then now let's see if we can break some key support levels. This is gonna be a massive inflection point right now here in pins. Why? Because what was acting as prior resistance can act as potential support. If we have the ability to breach $15, then I think we can come into the middle of this range. First things first, we need to be patient. And the bid is slowly starting to drop down, and that's exactly what we want to see. Was this pump a little bit more overdone? I think so, considering this is a 5-minute time frame. You breach the lower end of the earnings report print for momentarily, and then you come back above that, run into some other key zones, and then now we're slowly starting to curl over. So a re-engage, it just took a little bit of time. We could have a little bit more size considering, but we'll be thankful for what we have. I did have a little bit more, I think about 20% more maybe on this initial move, which is totally fine. We'll accept what we have right now. And the volume-weighted average price is going to be our primary target, which is sitting roughly around, it's going to be a nice little move here, if you ask me. If we're fortunate enough to get at 1464, we'll take that all day, every day, Sharif.
Yeah, man. You're not getting the continuation here on MLEC, guys. It's just, maybe it's setting up, and it keeps finding support at this trend line. So the higher lows keep, manifesting, but what is glaringly obvious as well are these lower highs that we can't seem to shake, and they're lower and lower, aggressively lower, like 12.23 area high, then essentially, let's just call it an $11 high, and now we're talking about 10 1/3 to 10.40 area high, at least for the moment. Let's see if we can get above that. But it feels like it's coiling up, right? Like that spring sort of action to take out area tops. Whether or not it does that, your guess is as good as mine. But there are others that are continuing to run fastly. FSLY looking like it found a bit of a base here at 18. Now, it didn't hold 18 strictly. It got down to 1789, but there you go. First 5-minute candle will make a new high at 1235, decidedly green. Higher low on the next candle, higher low and higher high on the next candle, and then repeating again into the 1250 candle. 1878 high showing 1838 now. FSLY has been doing it live for 3 straight days. That is the aftermarket move there on the 11th. This is the price action on the 12th, and here we are with another higher low and another higher high on the whatever today is, the 13th. I forgot, 13th. So FSLY looking really good as well. RIG as well, hanging out, I think 3 pennies off the day's high. Very much looks like, that reversal candle we just saw on FSLY holding 630, now back up to 637, about 3 pennies off that day high. Atom, I feel like the best trade is behind it for the moment. It did have that breach of that trend line that moved up, tried to test the double, the high of the day, but my suspicion was that could be a double top, and so far, obviously, it hasn't broken below VWAP to show us the double top is in play, but that same area seller, we know for a fact, is still there. Still holding above VWAP, which makes it a good candidate for that VWAP hold high of daybreak. No way. Look at the TVs. Yes,
Finally,
Rob.
there you go.
Oh, finally. Fantastic. Yes, Mark. Absolutely. He's killing it. Mark's killing it there, man. This is going to be so good. Thank you, Mark, for working on that. We appreciate it. It's going to be big, especially when we get in the morning, Joey. Keep an eye on things. So ATOM, definitely one that, it's still in play, but not at the moment, at least not for me, Joey. FSLY is making a move, though, guys. It wants to take out the $0.50 here. So that would make it about 23 pennies below the high of the day. Chrism, oh, hi, Mark. Yes, Mark, he's the OG of these parts. And so, yeah, Mark's getting it. There he is. Well, we can't really see him there because it's dark as hell. Oh, wow.
Oh, there he is. There you go. He's got his hands up. He's getting
there's Brendo in the shot. But, yeah, so those are the TVs, guys. So we're going to have, like, all the business networks from all around the world. And there's Mark right there who was giving up the peace sign. There is the Chilean night. There's Mark waving. Shout out to Mark. And so we're going to be able to see kind of all that good stuff there. And I'm personally pumped.
Oh, there we are over here.
There you go. There's your boy Neil. Pa-pam. Shout out. Yeah, I think we've definitely got a lot of cameras now, man.
It's a lot of cameras.
I think we have a lot, like markedly more than we had in the old set.
What are you doing here?
Can we come for a visit? Casey, if you're in the city,
Right away. Straight away.
If you're in the city, send me a message. But I may have to revisit that because the OG just kind of kiboshed that. But,
right away, like, boom.
There we go. But KC526 is awesome. Set looks better than any of the cable channels. Yeah, thank you, brother. I mean, this, Ichiro, you've been around with us, man. This has taken a long time, and they're not done. We are not done. There's more. You guys never got to see it, obviously, but there was a room in the back there called the podcast room. That's now under construction. Behind the curtain right there, you guys can't see it. More construction back there. It's in a good way, though, right? If you're constructing, you're building. If you're building, you're improving.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're not building, then you have a flat GDP.
Oh, you're taking shots at our country, aren't you?
Did I?
Taking shots on our country, huh? Why? You see your boy Trudeau? You see the house he bought in Quebec City?
That's your boy.
$4.5 million.
That's
Looks like a little castle there.
That's like your money, too.
That's my money. Oh, that's everybody's money, clearly.
It's a little bit of everyone's there. With this girl. All right, guys, let's get into pins. It's starting to get a little bit of a rebound. This isn't what I want to see, really, because that's a big, strong bounce. We've been sitting in this quite some time. 50.09, okay. Oh, this thing. All right, so yeah, we want to see this. We want to reject this area, but I was talking about a bounce in this neck of the woods, right? Like we have these levels. Let's eliminate some of these lines so we can see it a little bit more clear. Okay, a nice little move down. So hopefully this is a breath and we can punch through. But what was prior resistance is now acting as a key level of support. There we go. We got it there. 14.95. If we can breach that once again, then I like our chances of heading a little bit lower. So let's be patient. The Nasdaq and Rivian starting to come back in. This is what I want to see right now. It is around that time, right? So at 12:55, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, you can typically see those moves. So hopefully this on pins isn't too deep of a pullback. If not, we'll just get involved in something else. Maybe we can get a small move to the downside back here in the TQQs. If it wants to come back at 12s, if it breaks its previous pivot at 10, then I'll just get out of it, and then maybe we'll find something else here. But I do like our chance of it being somewhat of a breath. 15.06, the delay on this is pretty bad, Sharif. If we talk about market latency and the delay, this is really bad, right? So you want to check your network delay. If it's anything over like a couple hundred milliseconds, that's too long in my opinion. Find yourself a platform where it's about 50 to 60. You can get that, and it rhymes with DAS, okay?
You know what video I saw yesterday? Just accidentally. It was from Squawk. It was Squawk on the street or something like that. It was CNBC back from 2014. You know, one of the what are they called? The Fast Boys? You know that book?
Sorry, repeat it one more time.
The book about algorithmic high-speed trading.
Oh,
What's it called again?
I have no idea.
Chat, fact check me, please. What is it called? Fast Boys? Neil, what was that book called? Neil Roberts. Fast Boys, or you know that book about high frequency trading or high speed trading? Flash Boys, thank you. Flash Boys. Okay, so one of the Flash Boys was there, and then the president of Bats was there, and they faced off, and it was a heated one. Yeah, basically called him out. He's like, you're rigging the market. The guy lost his stuff.
The
president.
bad guy.
Yeah. You got to pull that up online, man.
What's it
because
called?
we're talking about the latency and all that kind of stuff. And it
Market
reminded
latency.
me of Fast Boys.
It's you got to check that, right? Like you got to go into your network delay and see what it is. Because why would you don't want to have a delayed reaction. It's just a disadvantage.
Yeah, he was
right?
just basically telling him, like, you're rigging it against retail traders. They were talking about retail traders a decade and change ago. This is 2014, mind you, right?
It's crazy.
Guys, FIO is making a move, and we're taking prints here to the high side. Current bar high. The current bar high on the 1255 candle is, I believe, 170. We did get that 170 print, 171 unfilled, 173 unfilled, looking for a continuation into 175. The high of the day, not immediately apparent if it's going to clear that level. I picked it up off the volume weighted average price when I saw, it was making a move back up, but we're not exactly, crazy in the money or anything like that. So we're going to pack the patience, see if we can take it out there. But we built a position, added several times into this, mind you, looking for a move above 175. Austin Brock 63, thank you very much, brother, for the super chat, $5. Bought AAPL calls 4/17, so April 17th expiry for $21.75 per contract. Tried to buy after big 20% loss post earnings, continue to drop, stick in it or sell it today. That's your world, Joey.
All right,
ALAB.
let's pull up ALAB here, guys, and see what we got going on, right? So ALAB, down 20% already on these things. They expire, when do they expire? April 17th. Let's pull up the daily and see what we got going on. And I was talking about this not too long ago, just a time and a place for everything. So you got to ask yourself what's going on with the rest of the participants. Is this a buy territory? If you ask me from a participation standpoint, it doesn't necessarily look like it. You're down 50% off those. You may find somewhat of a sustained bounce, but just be cautious. Not much time, and every day that passes by, we know in the options contracting that you're going to lose theta. So if that bounce doesn't happen relatively quick, just reassess your situation. Nothing wrong with accepting the loss and applying that capital somewhere else. So you want to see what the other larger participants are up to, okay? So keep that in mind there, guys. I
just want to shout out some TikTok viewers right now. Thank you, Fabian, for letting us know that. Shout out to Money Market for watching us. Thank you so much for watching right now on TikTok. Shout out to Sapporo 007, Drew Patty 4. Shout out to Stock Market Score. We're doing it live on YouTube. We're doing it live on TikTok. We're doing it live on X. Maybe even we'll do it live on Twitch and Kick. We are, baby. Oh, yeah, every day.
No way.
Yeah. So shout out to our TikTok viewers, guys. Thank you for following on TikTok. Fabian, thank you for that, guys. And stick with us, man. If you're new, obviously, since our TikTok channel, I think we're sending out that feed again. If you're newer, we're live every day from 8 till 4. And on many days when there are earnings, we go from 4 to 4:30 for those earnings plays if you're newer. So, we'll be live every single day. The markets are open. American markets are open, not the Canadian markets. So thank you for joining us as well. It's 1 o'clock. And we only have one position left here, myself, with PHIO. I'm going to let this one kind of manifest. But I think it is probably time to start the news. So give me 1 second over here to load this bad boy up. There's a whole lot to discuss and a lot to talk about. Give me a sec, Joey. There we go. We got it. Let me put this on a screen I do not need. There we go. All right, Assassino, we're good to go. So something's going on here with Meta. Not right now. It's down 0.13. But Ernst & Young, they are a little befuddled, let's put it that way, with some of Meta's accounting practices. Not like we didn't already know this. We already had been talking about this. Now we're kind of getting the official nod from the auditing firm. So Ernst & Young flagged Meta's accounting treatment of its $27 billion Hyperon data center as a critical audit matter. I'm putting those bunny quotes there because it is a quote, direct quote. This designation, critical audit matter, signals one of the most complex and judgment-heavy decisions in the audit process. While Ernst & Young ultimately approved Meta's accounting, the warning label highlights elevated scrutiny risks. Such transactions are specific flags that are relatively rare for these mega cap names. So let's talk about why they're worried about it. So in October, Meta moved the Hyperon project into a joint venture with Blue Owl Capital. We know that. Meta owns about 20% of that joint venture. The other 80 is owned by Blue Owl Capital. The holding company, though, that Blue Owl Capital is operating from issued a record $27.3 billion in debt, in bonds, obviously, to fund the structure. The entity is classified as a variable interest entity under accounting rules. So Meta concluded that it's not the primary beneficiary of this variable interest entity, and as a result, the joint venture here, the assets and liabilities, don't appear on Meta's balance sheet, even though in reality, they're going to be on the hook for that, right? This keeps leverage metrics cleaner when they're doing their earnings report, despite the massive AI infrastructure. So we've been talking about, you know, the circularity of some of the business arguments or business setups, excuse me. We've talked about CoreWeave, we've talked about NVIDIA, OpenAI, and how they're kind of, you know, I'm not going to use the term, but they're all, you know, in business with one another.
Yeah,
now we're talking about creative accounting practice, and we've seen this. Remember special purpose vehicles, you know, offloading your debt into a special purpose vehicle to move it off your balance sheet. This is kind of a different way.
That's what CVNA did.
Exactly.
With,
you remember that?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think it's interesting. Is it going to hurt the earnings report? I mean, how's the street going to perceive this? They're not liking it right now. I think it's just a little bit of salt in the wound. And you know what, Sharif? I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see a little bit more of this, considering, and especially in names like Oracle. Right, like that's a name that you want to keep an eye out for these kind of fishy accounting practices. Meta's still slightly off of those all-time.
Yeah, and I worry about, you know, shifting, you know, and creating these, I don't want to call them shell companies because they're not technically a shell company, but they're just, you know, these entities that you can offload your debt to through creative accounting so that the street doesn't make you pay. I think the street's wise to all this, right? I mean, the fact that we're reporting on it and Ernst & Young had to actually speak about this directly means that the street's already wise, and you have to assume if the street is wise to it, it's going to be reflected in the price action, no matter how Meta wants to set this up. That's my opinion there. Adara, give us yours.
When it comes to price action here, I just want to mention we did get a reaction to this story because this came out on Wednesday around 12:30 p.m. So it's about 48 hours old now. I was right here with you guys. It had like this little slump here to the downside when Wall Street Journal first reported this. So it is worth noting this is a couple-day-old story. And Meta, to be fair, had a lot of different catalysts on Wednesday. We had the Bill Ackman and Pershing Square position. We had their new data center coming out in Lebanon, in America, not Lebanon, the country. So yeah, I think with Meta, this catalyst might have gotten lost in all the other catalysts we had that day, but it is worth noting this is not necessarily brand new information for the market, regardless of, again, whether this is like priced in for their earnings. Now, with regards to Ernst & Young, based on their whole, I think their behavior during the SMCI situation where they just stepped down, they seem to me, and again, if people know otherwise, please tell me because I actually want to know, they seem to me to be quite ethical. They had concerns about SMCI, so they stepped down. They're flagging this issue here with Meta, even though, again, you know, it's a critical issue, but it's not going to stop them in and of itself. So I think this is, I appreciate Ernst & Young's ethics here. And again, I think given their conduct in SMCI, it kind of seems to hold up and to be in line with what we already know about them. So that being said, if there are further issues with META here and this restructuring, I wonder if that becomes a problem. And I think in that case, you might see more of a market reaction than that blip we had 48 hours ago. And yeah, guys, if you do know more about like the ethics of this auditor, definitely tag me in the chat because I'm very curious.
Let's go on to the next story. Apple FTC flags political bias concerns in Apple News. Let's talk about this. FTC Chairman Andrew Ferguson sent a letter directly to CEO Tim Cook, questioning the alleged political bias within Apple News. The letter claims Apple News may have prompted left-leaning outlets while suppressing conservative publications. Ferguson suggested such practices, if proven, could raise concerns under the FTC Act. He also emphasized it is not policing political speech, but protecting consumers from potential misrepresentations or omissions. The issue is centering around content curation transparency rather than core hardware or services revenue. And the allegations include reports that Apple News did not feature articles from conservative-leaning outlets in recent months while promoting liberal publications. If you believe that, then this is obviously a problem. But this is also a problem that's not specific to Apple. Many of the large language models have been accused of having left-leaning biases. Why? Because they're being trained on mainstream media outlets. For the most part, and I don't care how you guys think in the chat about my view on this, for the most part, the left-leaning or the media is more left-leaning than right-leaning.
Right at the T. I was gonna point right at the TV. Yeah.
They have left-leaning opinions. However, you want to split that in the middle.
Yeah.
And so, because they're more proliferation of the mainstream media outlets and the LLMs training off them, it ends up having a bias that way. I feel that Apple is just basically curating the main media outlets. I don't think they're specifically targeting one view or another. I think they're just going with the main one. And if the main one is left-leaning, that's what ends up coming.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just my opinion on things. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. At some point, you're just going to have to pick some from both sides, but that's not necessarily the case. Maybe you have to go with a little bit more of a right-leaning media outsource, and then same thing with the left. But you'll never find a balance. I don't think that's going to be the case. It's been like that for a long time, and I think it's going to continue to be so, Sharif.
All right, let's go on to the next story. Google, we reported this to you guys yesterday, by the way, but it is an important one. European Commission has launched a fresh probe into Google over concerns it may be manipulating ad auction pricing. Regulators are suspecting Google is, quote, artificially increasing the clearing price of search ads, potentially harming advertisers, of course. If proven, the conduct would violate EU competition law and would trigger fines of up to 10% of their global revenue. The investigation apparently is in the early stages and could soon be formally announced. Google's already accumulated roughly 11.3, come on, bro. I can't even say this with a straight face. $11.3 billion in EU antitrust fines, about 9.5 billion euros. New scrutiny could materially add to that. The probe includes requests for information about Google's dominance across online advertising markets. And under the EU's Digital Markets Act, Google recently received a 6-month deadline to remove technical barriers for rival AI search assistants on Android. The company must also provide key data for two competing search engines. This is the whole Rogers and Bell thing we were talking about yesterday, where you have to give your competitors, access, so to speak. The EU probe, could complicate relations with U.S. policymakers and further escalate regulatory coordination. If you recall, Jameson Greer, the U.S. trade representative who's been kind of spearheading a lot of these trade deals, I think about a month ago, he outlined a non-exhaustive list of European companies which could be on the receiving end of reciprocal, let's just call them investigations or fines. Thankfully for me, and for chips, ASML was not one of them, but there was a huge list. SAP, Mistral, even some companies are not even public.
Some car companies as well too.
Actually, let me find out, but I don't remember seeing the car companies there. So could this be part of the tit for tat kind of?
I think so, right? Like we knew that Donald Trump was talking about. He said, didn't he at one point say that you have to stop fining our companies so much, or we're not going to be more lenient on the tariffs, right? So that has to be taken into consideration. My big question is, where does all this money go? Like Google alone has paid $11.3 billion. Where is it just going into the pockets of the bureaucrats? It's interesting here. It's going to continue, Sharif, as long as they continue to operate in the EU, whether it be Meta, Apple, or Google. The EU is going to continue to fine them, in my opinion.
Let's go on to the next story. Amazon Ring cancels Flock safety partnership because of privacy concerns. We'll explain what Flock is in a second. So the Amazon-owned Ring is terminating its planned integration with police tech provider Flock Safety. The partnership would have allowed Ring users to share footage with law enforcement agencies using Flock's investigative tools. Ring said the integration would, quote, require significantly more time and resources than anticipated, and they basically decided to cancel as of that. The decision, though, follows criticism over Ring's Super Bowl ad promoting its AI-powered search party features for lost pets. Civil liberties groups, they labeled the feature as potentially a surveillance nightmare. Broader scrutiny, though, is rising over the tech company's relationship with ICE and the Customs and Border Protection Agency. Protests have actually organized outside of Amazon's Seattle headquarters, calling for ties to be cut with all law enforcement-related partners. Flock, though, the company that we're speaking about here, they operate automated license plate reader system used by thousands of communities and law enforcement agencies. Reports indicated that ICE and CBP accessed Flock data though Flock denies sharing information directly with those agencies. And just to give you by way of information, Amazon acquired Ring back in 2018 for a little bit less than $1 billion, about $839 million. What do you make of this story, Joey?
I get, sorry, Sharif, I'm working on
no
something
worries,
right
bro.
now. Yeah,
Let's go on to the next story, Applied Materials. So this absolutely rocketed up today, 9% for AMAT here, and there was an earnings report that kind of sent this one through the roof. Adjusted EPS of $2.38 on revenue of $7 billion. That is for the quarter of January, both ahead of Wall Street expectations. Analysts were forecasting 7.01 and $2.28, so an inline revenue number and a beat on EPS. The earnings, though, the earnings strength reinforces the narrative, though, that the semiconductor equipment makers are direct beneficiaries of the AI capital spending cycle. And for the current quarter, here's what we're looking for the guide. AMAT expects revenue of $7.15 billion up to $8.15, with EPS going to come in from $2.44 to $2.84. Either way, both are above expectations, with the CEO, Gary Dickerson, saying the company expects its business, semiconductor business, to grow more than 20% this year, all driven, of course, by AI-related demand. Management also suggested the global semiconductor revenue could reach $1 trillion this year, believe it or not. And we've seen, the semiconductor manufacturers or semiconductor equipment providers and manufacturers, they've been killing it. Whether it's AMAT, ASML, who else was Lam Research, they're all booming as a result of that. Here's what some industry context we can add. AMAT's commentary echoes, like what I said, ASML and Lam Research, they both said the same thing. KeyBank is noting that AI has triggered what they're calling a long-duration growth catalyst, providing unusually long demand visibility for these equipment makers, and AMAT shares have nearly doubled over the past 12 months into earnings, signaling, expectations were already elevated, yet the results still cleared the bar.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about Applied Materials being on a run for quite some time now. If you look at the full year outlook of 2026, guidance targeting at around 7.65 billion. Free cash flow starting to increase as well, too, guys, around 1.04 billion free cash flow, and returned $702 million to shareholders via dividends and repurchases. So $365 million going to the shareholders, and then approximately 337 going to the repurchase program. When a company's buying back stock, it gives them more control, and that's a good move. Applied Materials looks like this move might be sustained, but also keep in mind, you have this massive gap up, and I was talking about this yesterday, right? I said, watch out for a strong move in Applied Materials, and then a move back in towards to fill that gap, and that's exactly what's been happening. Even though we haven't fully filled it yet, considering it is still right at a key supply zone here at 357 in Applied Materials, watch out come Monday, or Tuesday, I should say. You might see a little bit of a continuation to the downside. Why? Because on the daily, once again, we'll refer to that. Selling pressure, and we're going to close as a bearish candle today.
Instacart, good, strong, gross, what was it called again? Gross transaction volume sparks a 14% pop in the aftermarket. Where's Cart at now? Let's take a quick look. Up only 7%, so it's well off the highs here on Cart. Let's talk about their Q4 revenue, almost $1 billion. They brought in 992, but that is a 12% bump year over year, and that beats the 974 that analysts were looking for. And profitability, healthy, 30 pennies per share. That was, though, below the 52 expected by the street. It's being blamed on higher operating expenses. Net income, $81 million. Adjusted EBITDA, about 303. But that does top the 292 expected by the street. Investors really did focus more, though, on the growth and the forward look than the EPS miss. Otherwise, we wouldn't be up 7.25. gross transaction value. So that's like the amount of the total amount of all the products that they deliver. I'm assuming because they're a delivery company. 9.85 billion. That beats the estimates of 9.54. That is the strongest quarter they've had in 3 years. Not a bad look. Their orders, they had a little bit less than 90 million orders in the quarter, 89.5. That's ahead of the 87.8 analysts were looking for. And for Q1, they guided that gross transaction volume to be 10.13 to 10.28. So that's a quarter-over-quarter sequential growth as they brought in 9.85 for the prior quarter. And again, ahead of estimates, 9.97. So quarter-over-quarter sequential growth and beating estimates by analysts. The CEO, Emily Rudder, highlighted strong performance in the enterprise segment. Interesting, with 70 new net retailers added last year. Okay, so they're expanding, obviously, the product offering for their users. Recent product launches include AI tools for grocers and integration with OpenAI's ChatGPT. But this company has been suffering a little bit with some, headline news. They previously faced backlash over that AI-driven dynamic price tests, which showed different customers, different prices. The test was halted after the criticism, of course, but they're also facing competition from Uber Eats and DoorDash, which have both now gotten into the grocery game. I was telling you guys, you can basically get a cup of coffee. You can get a chocolate bar if you like through Uber Eats. So clearly, Joey, they're not the only ones in this space anymore.
No, not at all. So, it's tough to take share from the Uber Eats, though, right? And the DoorDashes and everything along those lines.
Fabian, flip. Fabian.
They seem to be doing so. One thing that was interesting to me is that advertising and others up 10% year over year, new Carrot ads partners, brand diversification, AI tools boosting engagement. I think that's a pretty good, that's good, right? That's what you want to see, that ad revenue start to uptick. And then full year revenue, Sharif was talking about that also, but just the focus, including AI enhancements for grocers, consumers, and international expansion. I think that's what you want to see. I remember previously, you go back a year and a half or 2 years, if you said AI in your earnings report, the stock was going to see a boost. That's not necessarily the case right now, even though we did gap up right now, Sharif, into $40, giving back the majority of that move now to $35 and change here on Instacart, C-A-R-T.
All right, let's talk a little Airbnb, a revenue beat and an upbeat guide. Where is Airbnb at? Let's find out over here. Give me a sec. 4.5% in Greensville, but well off the high. Looks like it was a 127 high. All right, Q4 revenue, $2.78 billion. That increases about 12% year over year and beats a 2.72 that analysts were looking for, with profitability also coming in below expectations, 56 pennies per share. The street wanted 66. Net income also declined year over year. $341 million in profitability, dropping from the $461 last year on the quarter. But management did cite what they're calling a $90 million non-income tax matter and stepped up investments as well in growth as the reason for the driver of the lower profitability. So it looks like it's a one-off item on the line there, as well as investment. So more CapEx. Shares did rise. Investors really focused more on the top line strength and the forward guidance as opposed to the EPS miss. Let's talk about some of their metrics. These are important. 121.9 million nights and seats that were booked. That's a 10% bump year over year, and that beats the 117.6 expected by analysts. Another important metric, the gross bookings value, that reached about $20.4 billion, up 16% year over year, and topping the 19.4 expected by the street. And that GBV growth is suggesting that improving pricing power and high value stays are really taking over as opposed to last year. And Airbnb has beaten revenue estimates 20 of the past 24 times. So when you talk about that top line number for growth, they're doing quite well. Not the same story, though, for EPS and profitability. What's the guide, though? They're saying low double digits. So they're guiding Q1 revenue to be $2.59 to $2.63 billion, ahead of the $2.53, with full year revenue expected at least in the low double digits. That's, again, ahead of the 10.2. So that could be low double digits. Airbnb also hired this Ahmed Al-Dahal. Should be able to say that a little bit better. He's the former head of Gen AI at Meta, and they assigned him as the new CTO, Chief Technology Officer, clearly here with AI aspirations.
Yeah, I was just reading a little bit on that. Key drivers including AI resolving with third of North American support tickets and product updates, adding 200 bips to night growth. That's not bad. Free cash flow increasing as well too, guys, to 529 million for the quarter and 4.6 billion, for full year 2025. That's a 38% margin. It's unfortunate that 219 down to 121. That's a 40-something% haircut. See, it's funny. Do you look at Airbnb kind of in the way that Uber took away from the taxi cab, just obliterated kind of, even though they're not necessarily in hotels? I find a lot of individuals don't even go the hotel route anymore and just go to Airbnb. So what I'm getting at is this thing was a major disruption to the hotel chain.
Yeah, 100%. No, of course it is. Yeah, 1,000% I agree.
Yeah.
What I've seen, though, is in some, especially in Europe, you're seeing a lot of pushback against Airbnb.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Spain. Because it's, according to them, I don't have the data, but the argument is they're increasing the
fees.
No, not the fees. They're increasing the cost of living, like shelter costs.
Okay.
Because people are buying these things and then they're Airbnb-ing them. That reduces supply for the people there. So a lot of people were like, you know what they had? They had posters. They would go around to all the tourist areas in Barcelona and say, tourists, go home. They didn't want them there.
Right? Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm serious. So I do feel that that is a bit of a headwind. And then also, hold on, you know that some cities are now limiting that because for that exact reason. Toronto is limiting it, New York,
That's exactly
LA.
what I was just about to say.
So
some condos don't even allow you to Airbnb. So
there you
can't Airbnb. At my old one, you weren't allowed to.
You can't Airbnb at mine either. Minimum lease duration is 6 months. So you can Airbnb it, but it has to be for more than 6 months, which is unlikely, right? Like, that's kind of my my little take there. Let's go on to Pinterest. EPS, 67 pennies, in line with estimates, up from 56 last year, so good there. A bottom line improvement despite some operational headwinds, which we'll get into. 1.32 billion in revenue, that missed the 1.33, but not by much, but it was still a 14% year-over-year increase on the top line. Adjusted profit margin missed expectations, and the shares fell big. Where are they at right now? They were down over 20% in extended trading, and that is the lowest price, oh baby, that Pinterest has been at since July of 22. I know your boy Joey Ops is going to look at the technicals in a second, but the current quarter guidance also disappointed, reinforcing the narrative. You know that there is certainly near-term momentum slowing down. Wall Street expected 15% revenue growth, but the deceleration here suggests the ad market recovery may not be strong enough to offset some of the internal cost pressures the company is dealing with. Stock's already down 28% since announcing the restructuring in late January. That wasn't even that long ago. And here's what they announced. They're laying off 15% of their workforce, and they're redirecting the savings in the fixed cost into AI-related investments. Shocking, right? Management aims to transform the platform from what they're calling visual mood boards into what they're calling an AI-powered shopping assistant, which is going to blend advertising and e-commerce monetization. I want to see it. They historically move sharply after earnings. The average next day move for Pinterest is about 13%, and that's over the past 20 quarters. Joey, do you even use Pinterest?
No, I don't think I've ever been on it, to be honest with you. Maybe just took a gander
I have
on
it here.
Yeah, I don't even know what it does. Really. Like, what do you do on Pinterest?
Oh, it's not even on there no more. Joey got removed.
What do you do on? What is
like
Pinterest?
you can see like clothing. It's ideas like how to put ensembles together, or like you want to.
Okay. So like house decor, like you go there and see.
Exactly.
Okay, all right, yeah.
There's more, but that's the main thing. Yeah.
I think that's a little bit tough of a go there in Pinterest. We tried multiple attempts on it here today, but we want to talk about the numbers. Year-over-year growth in U.S. and Canada, 9%, not horrible. Revenue, 979 million. Europe, 25%. That's going to be its largest growing segment. And then, the rest of the world is actually up 64% to $96 million. So at a growth rate, you're going to see the rest of the world and then Europe sitting in that. So some modest growth here in the U.S. and Canada. Not too bad of a look. We tried multiple attempts. The Street 18% to the downside. We thought we'd get a little bit more continuation. We tried this on multiple occasions to get that short to come into play. Not necessarily the thing or the continuation in which we were looking for.
Oh,
but
wow.
Pinterest, yeah, we'll pull up from a daily.
This is ugly, Joe.
Yeah, it's bad. It's probably not good.
This is real ugly, bro.
Pins.
We're
there.
below the 2022 levels, man. We're talking about COVID level lows now, Joe.
Probably. I mean, if you're at that, you're at COVID, so yeah, you'll
open up the weekly
recover.
on that bad boy.
You'll never recover, unfortunately, from this one. So there it is, $84 down to $15. It's a tough look, especially when you have obviously X coming into play. You got Mark Zuck and all of his platforms, whether it be Facebook. Now he's got Threads rocking and rolling. Threads could be disruptive to that as well too. And then as well, what other names am I missing? Snapchat's not anything relatively close, but there's too much competition, and it's tough for this name. Essentially.
You're talking for advertising dollars. Absolutely,
yeah,
for sure.
Reddit, you have the Reddits and everything along those lines. So yeah, a bit tougher of a look here on.
All right, Adara, give us your opinion on pins.
So it's interesting because we're talking about the stock weakness, but I just went through all 7 years of quarterly revenue for Pinterest. That's 28 quarters, and that infographic hasn't come out yet. It's going to come out around 2 p.m. But the thing I want to stress, guys, is every single quarter, we get some kind of year-over-year growth. So not ever has there been a year-over-year decline in their quarterly revenue. I do think that is significant, and I want to open with that when I talk about PINS or Pinterest. I want to mention, too, here, our friend Bill Reddy. Bill Reddy, this individual here with the pink background, he's the current CEO of Pinterest, and he's been so since July of 2022. Now, I bring him up because his pedigree is actually really interesting, and it makes me wonder with this restructuring if he'll be able to bring a lot more to the company. I think he will. So he was actually CEO of a company called Braintree, which was a startup. Then that ended up being acquired by PayPal in September 2023. Now, what you might not know, what I had no idea about until just now, is Braintree, while he was CEO, acquired Venmo. And that's why PayPal is Venmo. So this man has a massive amount of experience here, specifically in this payment space. He was actually COO of PayPal from 2016 to 2019. He joined the company after his company, Braintree, was acquired by them. Then in January of 2020, he becomes Google's president of commerce, payments, and next billion users. So his role as CEO of Pinterest is kind of odd when you consider his payment-focused background. So that being said, I wonder if we kind of see this AI focus, given his experience with, PayPal and his experience with Google. I think Bill Reddy might be able to offer a lot more to the company. Now, I'm excited to see what it does in this era. Now, before I send you back over to Sharif and Joe, I want to talk about this. I found this really interesting. So what I did here was I looked at Pinterest fiscal 2025 earnings here based on region. So total revenue and then monthly active users. So as you can see here, total revenue growth was about 16% year over year. However, 62% of that is the rest of world regions. So you're not maybe getting a lot of Pinterest usage growth in North America, but you're getting a heck of a lot of it in these other regions of the world. Now let's go over to what I thought was shocking, which was total monthly active users, or MAUs. More than 50% of Pinterest's monthly active users are coming out of the rest of world region. So once again here, we're seeing a lot of usage here. Maybe not so much in North America or in Europe, but a lot here in the rest of the world region. And again, that region growing the most when it comes to monthly active users and revenue. So interesting look here for Pinterest in terms of where its users are coming from. Not really what I was expecting, but a very interesting look. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that. Let's go on, talk about Rivian. All right, interesting look. Let's see where Rivian is at on the day. Well, it's pretty close to the highs, about 27.25%. $120 million in gross profit on $1.3 billion in revenue. That does beat expectation. Roughly break even, though, for the gross profit in about $1.2 billion in sales. Profit was down. Down from $170 million last year. So they beat in terms of expectations, but sequentially year over year, they're down. Revenue declined from $1.7 billion last year, so gross profit dropping, revenue dropping. Market doesn't care, though. There's a reason for that. Net loss also $804 million, but that actually narrowed from the $1 billion they lost. So shoring up some internal costs, they delivered 9,745 vehicles in Q4 of 25. That is down huge. 14,183 is what they delivered in last year's quarter in 2024. for Q4 of 2024, reflecting, of course, that weaker EV demand. And we know why there is weaker EV demand with the cancellation of the $7,500 EV tax credit by President Trump in September, which caused U.S. EV sales to drop 36% year over year in Q4. Only about 234,000 cars, EVs, were sold total, Tesla, everybody, in Q4 of 2025, highlighting, the macro policy headwinds. Management did point to cost control improvements, hence why they lost less money, but unit growth here remains close. Unit growth is very important to close the profitability gap. They got to be able to make this on the economies of scale in order to make the money. So what are they talking about for 2026? They're expecting 62 to 67,000 cars to be delivered in the entire year of 2026. That would be up, though, from the 42,000. We'll get to why in 2025. Analysts are also projecting about 64,000 deliveries, meaning, it's in the midpoint somewhere. That's largely in line. Cash and investments totaled $6.7 billion at the quarter end. Wall Street was thinking about $3.5 billion they're going to burn of that 6.7 in 2026. Now, let's get to why they expect deliveries to be up big. About in the most conservative of guide, it's about 20,000, and that is because of one car and one car only. It is the R2. So the R2 supposedly is going to be about $42,000 starting price. We'll see if they can bring it to market at that price. Number two, how basic of a car it's going to be for that price and how high up the cost will go for the upgraded trims. Now, we're obviously not connected to Marquez Brownlee, but he had a really good review on his channel about the R2. It's all camouflage because it's like what he's calling the last prototype before mass production. He was highly, positive about the car. He noted specifically that, looked like the R1S, but was just a scaled down version in terms of width, length, and it doesn't also have a third row. So it's a bit smaller on that regard, but it basically has all the same features and functions, but it doesn't have that overkill like the flagship does. Like I don't know if it has a flashlight, by the way, but it doesn't have that portable speaker and all that extra stuff that they put in on the R1S. So I do like this. I want to see if they can produce it in scale, if there are going to be defects with the product, what kind of pricing we're really going to get for a decent trim, not the most basic of model, and whether their ambitions of selling 20,000 more cars this year is going to actually happen. I think that they have a plant in Georgia or North or South Carolina, somewhere like that. So it's good for American jobs, obviously. But let's just look. I looked at it. It's fantastic. I'm not hating on it.
Nice car.
But compare it to the Chinese EVs and the opulence that you get for a very good price with these Chinese EVs. I still think that Rivian, you're paying more and you're getting a little bit less as compared to.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what has to be taken into consideration is that the sway from going full electric to that hybrid style, Rivian, it's still fully electric, right? So I think that that's a big time issue. This stock is down substantially, and at this point, we know that this space is already competitive. I think it's at the point where we can officially say this stock will never recover, especially as it gets. You got Elon coming out with the autonomous vehicles. I think that's going to do more damage. That's going to be more invasive to the space as well, too. So when you have this luxury car brand that's kind of overpriced at some point, it's really tough to put a dent in the overall space.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all with that. Assassino, if we can show, this is the R2, so you guys can see it looks exactly like the R1S. And it's hard to tell it's a smaller car just from the pictures, but apparently when you go and you see it in person, it's markedly smaller. It still has some of the great, accessories that you can add, like the camping feature. It still has that built-in screen, some good stuff in the back as well. I'm just not sure if it's gonna have all the bells and whistles like the R1S, but I did like that comment there from Krasi Krumov. If they can get a mid-spec trim for about $55K, it would be perfect. I have to echo that sentiment. If they can really do that, like a good mid-spec trim where, a lot of, let's just say about maybe 50% of the available options come into that mid-spec, I think that they've got a needle mover. And I also think there is a large group of people who do not like Elon Musk and hate Tesla, and they are just looking for an alternative because, you know, they're obviously environmentally inclined and they want to get into a good car at the same time. This might be the option for them, right? So we'll have to wait and see whether or not that ends up picking up steam. I know RJ Scaringe, he's like quite apolitical. You don't really hear much from him, so I don't think he's really peeved anybody off. Joey, any other comments before we go on?
Yeah, I just don't know. Like, okay, I can understand that you may not like Elon, but I don't know if it's enough to go out there and buy a $50,000 car. Like, man, I don't like that guy so much, I'm going to go out and buy a Rivian. I don't know.
But like not to spite him, but if you were looking for a car, you didn't want to benefit Elon, right? Like, if you're looking for a Model Y.
But see, that's the thing. Do you turn to Rivian or do you go to some of these other full EV, right? You know what I mean? We got the BYDs coming in North America.
That's here. They're not allowed down there.
Not in the States.
Yeah.
Obviously
Yes,
fair,
sir.
but you got to think about it. Do you kind of sway that way? Is Rivian your next option?
It's a good question.
Right?
I feel that's
Right?
a good question. I just, there's not too many. Well, who knows? We'll see what GM is able to put out there. I know they had a great Silverado, but it's like $100,000. You know, it's expensive. Chris, Bezos-backed state electric car truck starting. I remember that one. It's it's that minimalist car, right? You're talking about. I know about that one. Thank you. Oracle's going, says Texas or something right there. Let's see where Oracle is at. The Coral. It's up 3 1/4. Not bad. Still, zigging and zagging, but yeah, good call. XXZ, double quadruple zero. Sharif, hey, what do you think of that wild-looking car called the Aptera? I don't even know what that is, man. Now you're piquing my curiosity over here. Oh, what the hell is this? Joey, you driving around in this?
No.
I don't like it, brother.
Who would drive around?
I don't. Why does it look like that, man? Why does it need to look like it's coming from space, though? Like, why can't it?
Black one looks all right.
This way, yeah. Well, yeah. Cars always look great in black, Joey. We'll probably get dinged if we play that, but yeah, that's what it looks like. I don't know, brother. No, I don't like it. Yannick, I think it goes beyond environmentally inclined. I think the future is EVs and autonomous. I think Ford will lose out the most from stepping back. That's interesting, brother, because I feel like Ford has kind of repositioned themselves for that
hybrid,
extended range EVs.
Yeah.
They're not technically hybrids in the old sense like the Toyotas, but yes, they have a gas-powered engine, they have batteries, but as we've talked about before, the gas-powered engine only charges the batteries, it doesn't propel the car.
Listen, it may not be in our lifetime, but how I truly feel is that if you don't have an autonomous vehicle, then you're going to be phased out. It doesn't matter, right? You're going to fall behind in the technology.
And some people have actually been thinking, Tesla might actually license FSD to like the Fords or the GM, get big money from that.
Software, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So there you go. So if you don't build something along those lines, you're going to, I think it's just being prolonged, right? All the regulators and everything along those lines. They're trying to keep everything in the old way, so because everybody's got their hands in each other's pockets.
You're right.
Essentially, so.
No, that's fair. Chaz, Sharif, look into what Slate Auto is doing. Tesla should go that route. Let's take a quick look and see what the Slate Auto is all about before we go on to the next story. Man, all these comments are piquing my curiosity here, Joey. All right, what do we got here? Slate Auto, the customizable EV that works for you. Oh yeah, this is the one that's backed by Bezos, no? That's what I was talking about. Yeah. I got wind of this a while back. It's very basic, super minimalist, and it's functional. Yeah, I did know about this. This has been out for quite some time. Reserved for $50. How much is this going to cost me, Joey? Let's find out over here. Get early access. No, I don't want to reserve mine. How do we build it? Personalization. Design yours. Is it going to give us a price? No, it's not going to give us a price. It'll let us build it and stuff, but we won't be able to see how much it is.
About this thing.
Yeah, he's been talking about it for a while. Let's talk about Roku. Good. We'll find out if it's good or not. Or how are we doing here on Roku? We're up 6%. Adjusted EPS coming in at 53 pennies, nearly double the expectations of the 28 pennies expected by the street, and revenue also climbed 16% year over year, $1.39 billion in that top line number, beating the 1.35. The results here are suggesting improved monetization ads and subscriptions, which are key drivers, as we know, as linear TV dollars continue shifting into streaming. Just look at the advertising sales for some of the linear television producers. I think President Trump is talking right now. Get it, Donald. All right, Roku expects full-year adjusted EBITDA to be $635 million on $5.5 billion in revenue. Again, that is ahead of the estimates of $603 million on $5.4. So good beat there. Guidance is implying continued margin improvement and ad recovery, which is very important, of course, for multiple expansion. What else we have here? Seaport Research, with a buy rating, they raised their price target from 116 to 130, citing the strong 2026 outlook and advertising tailwinds. But there's streaming wars right now. Roku's benefiting from rising live sports streaming demand, increased advertising budgets, and revenue share from subscriptions and streaming channels. What do you think of Roku, man?
Yeah, I have Roku. I have a Roku TV.
I know it's actually quite nice.
Yeah,
it's a sick TV, bro.
I think it's pretty good, right?
I think it's pretty good too.
I like Roku. I mean, on track to exceed 100 million streaming households by the end of 2026. I think that's pretty good. Like you said, Sharif, there's streaming wars, right? So to grab share from the Netflixes, the Primes, the Apple TVs, the Disney Plus isn't easy. Share repurchase up to $150 million in 2025. Free cash flow up more than 100% year over year. I think that's some pretty good numbers. Like Roku's somewhat of a sleeper in my opinion. We'll take a look at some of the technicals. I think it's good because like you get the TV, like they build the devices, right? So you have the physical device, and then you can subscribe as well too to their products. Which I think, why is it doing this to me right now? ROKU.
They're saying
super, man. Why do I have to hit that? That's so ridiculous.
I'm gonna hit that. For sure.
So, for sure. All right. I mean, it's not great. The technicals aren't good whatsoever on the weekly. You peak, obviously, during COVID. You're down 80%. Yeah, you might not recover from this, but the earnings aren't horrible, to be honest with you. I think what's really important here, the repurchase is big, but then on track to exceed 100 million streaming households. And then you can also see that the devices are relatively flat, but gross margins at 20%, that's not horrible for a physical device.
My God, that's got to be the most textbook double top in the history. That needs to be put in every textbook. Jeez Louise, bro, that is classic right there. All right, let's talk about Donkey Kong, DraftKings, Q4 miss, and prediction markets push. They're down about 13%, 12.84. And guess what, guys? DraftKings is already down a month and a half into the year, 36 1/3%. DKNG is down on the year, reporting $1.99 billion in Q4 revenue. That's actually up 43% year over year, but the earnings number, 36 pennies. The street wanted 39. Bottom line miss. Fiscal 2026 revenue, they're guiding 6.5 to 6.9 billion. That is well below the 7.3 billion the market was expecting. And as I mentioned, shares dropped quite aggressively, signaling investors were disappointed around the forward look rather than that top line growth, because they did grow 43% year over year. It's always about what you're going to do for me lately, I was about to say. CEO Jason Robbins, he highlighted the firm's new prediction market platform as a larger long-term opportunity than its core sportsbook. Management believes predictions could represent $10 billion in annual gross revenue opportunity over time. He didn't stress what time that was, but he also said early data shows no discernible cannibalization of their sportsbook revenue as a result of the prediction markets push. That's interesting. Wait a little bit. I don't think people are going to be doing both. I think it's one or the other, right? Revenue will come from two streams if they actually successfully push into the prediction markets. Free revenue model, so free revenue model, so fees charged to traders, and then the market making activity where DKNG may take the opposite side of trades and capture spread or profit. Oh boy, the market makers are back everywhere, baby. Unlike traditional sports books, if you're wondering what the hell these prediction markets are, prediction markets allow peer-to-peer trading. DraftKings can act as a liquidity provider, though, and profit from the imbalance on one side or the other. That's kind of what they're thinking there. The market reaction, though, obviously speaks volumes here, down 12 3/4. They weighed prediction markets heavily on gaming names, including Flutter, FanDuel, which is FanDuel's parent, amid concerns about long-term margin pressures, Joey. So even though they're saying, they're getting into the prediction markets, the prediction markets themselves is having a negative effect on DKNG.
Yeah. I mean, the sports book, though, the sports book year-over-year growth, not horrible, up to 64%. iGaming up 20% as well, too. It says lottery and others just growing, so nothing really big, but there's just so many things. The prediction markets, as you mentioned, Sharif, can be definitely can hinder what we got going on here on DKNG. Sorry, I'm short the market, so we'll go over this quickly. Why do I have to keep doing
I can go to the next story, brother, just so that you can focus on what you're doing there.
Let's do it. We'll go over the technicals. That's fine. Let's see. It's either one thing or the other is going to happen, essentially, right? So we'll wait and see. The market's just ebb and flowing. A gap down, and you slowly start to fill it. We were looking at this from an intraday standpoint to trade it, but it was just moving sideways. A lot of chop, a lot of chop, a lot of chop, and that's been the narrative so far today. It's gone nothing. It's just trailed VWAP the whole day, essentially, there, Sharif. You can see sideways, sideways, sideways.
All right, I'm trying to pull up DVLT for the OG Adam James, but there we go. So he says, look at DVLT daily, 4 breaks of trend squeeze soon. All right, I like the higher lows here, Adam, which isn't bad. Holding off that 50 penny, working its way into the 100. Bless you, Neil. But I personally don't like this downtrend here. It looks like it could be breaking, though, the downtrend. If you connect the closing prints, I'd like a move above a buck, Adam, and then ideally you make that new area high. Look at that triple top on the daily from the 5th of January, 5th, 6th, 7th. We reject off that $1.40. If you can get above that $1.40, get into that $1.50 territory, number 1, you'll be above the 200 simple and exponential. Number 2, you'll be above the 50, which is overlapping, about to give you the death cross right now with the 200. And number 3, you'll be above the $1. And number 4, you'll break above prior area high. So that $1.40, $1.50, I'd be looking for that in order to get into this position, but I completely see what you're saying there. If you want to build a position here and give it to prior area low, which I think is 60 pennies, good on you. You're risking about 26 pennies off that level. Shout out to Adam. Q4 earnings for Coinbase. Crypto winter deepens. Oh no, but Coin was up nicely this morning because I kept looking at Neil's charts, and it's up bigger, 17.8%. Let's talk about the report. Q4 revenue, Joey, $667 million. That is down sharply, almost halving, man, from $1.3 billion. In fact, it is halving, almost. From $1.3 billion a year ago. What they're saying is sustained slump in crypto activity. I don't think that surprises anybody. Net income, $2.49 a share. Profitable, right? But they brought in about $4.58 a share last year on the quarter. So sequentially, year over year, big drop. Transaction volumes, again, being blamed here for the pressure. With those transaction volumes, let's talk about them. Transaction revenue fell to $551 million. That is a 37% drop year over year on the quarter, tracking that broader decline in crypto prices as well as retail engagement with crypto. Coinbase issued Q1 transaction revenue guidance of $420 million. That's also below expectations. Subscription and service revenue is expected to be between $530 to $630 million. That's roughly in line with what the street was predicting. And the CEO emphasized the launch of Coinbase predictions. So yet another, let's call it brokerage, entity, whatever, getting into the predictions market, calling it a major incremental opportunity. Brian Armstrong, the CEO, estimates that prediction markets could represent about $10 billion in annual gross revenue opportunity over time. Where did we hear that again? Oh, that's right, DraftKings. So they both think the same thing. Company insists predictions are not cannibalizing the sports. What the hell? Okay, so clearly this is a bit of a miss here. Well, they don't even have a sports book, so this is a bit off here. Cost discipline and diversification. Subscription and services revenue was totaled $727 million, and that makes up the majority of the revenue mix. Stablecoin revenue from USDC and custody services remains strategic pillars, according to the report, and Coinbase has now 12 business lines generating more than $100 million annually. Despite all that, transaction fees remain the dominant swing factor for earnings, Joey.
I think it's just tough when you have so many different brokerages offering kind of what we have here in Coinbase. We'll give it the grandfather kind of benefit of the doubt here. But when you have the Robinhoods you can trade crypto on, and then if you're in the States, you can do it on IBKR as well too, and other platforms. I think with it being heavily correlated to Bitcoin in the cryptocurrency, obviously world, I think it's tough to play this name. We'll head over to the actual technicals of it, and you can just see how much it's been damaged as of late. Why is it? And that's why I find it making it tough. When you're a one-trick pony and you have everything, like if it starts offering equities, I heard that Shreve said they're going to get into the prediction market. I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but it has to be taken into consideration. They only have one thing essentially, and that's crypto. And there's so many different platforms that can offer the same product, 62.2% off of that previous all-time high. So you've been in a 194-day downtrend here in Coinbase.
All right, Adair, give us your take.
I mean, I have one metric in particular that I want to talk about here for Coinbase because I found it fascinating. So let's get into this. So this is a very, very, very niche aspect here. This is for fiscal 2025, and I found this by going on the company's 10K filing. So, you know, we did our research. We were down in the trenches for this one. And I initially even got to the 10K because I was trying to find info on specific crypto trading volume per asset, and I couldn't find it. Wasn't on the 10K. Wasn't in the press release. So Coinbase. Kind of a weird choice for you there to not include it, but I digress because let's talk here about this metric. So what this is, it basically looks at of all of the transaction revenue that came from spot trading, what percentage of it came from trading of each asset. So roughly 40% here, or sorry, 47%, just under, about half here of the trading was from other crypto assets. Bitcoin 27%, just over a quarter. XRP 14%, Ethereum 12%. Now this infographic here on, or not infographic, but visual here rather, on the right side of this chart, takes a look here at the change here of the percentage of transaction revenue from spot trading per asset. So did it go up or did it go down? Now Bitcoin, XRP, and Ethereum, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other crypto assets, they all lost some market share here when it comes to the percentage of transaction revenue from spot trading per asset. But XRP's spot trading here in terms of its market share relative to its peers on Coinbase increased by 133% year over year. So what this tells me is Coinbase customers might not be trading as much of Bitcoin, Ethereum, or these other assets in 2025, but they were trading tons of XRP. That's a really interesting look to me. It's something I wanted to highlight. I realize this is all very, you know, mumbo jumbo and a tiny little metric that looks at a fraction of a thing, but I think it just shows the interest in XRP here, and that's why I wanted to mention it. A couple other stories to mention before we go back to the guys. SpaceX reportedly considering a dual class share structure for its IPO, which would basically give select shareholders outsized voting control when it comes to decisions made by the company. The other thing is I was seeing some comments here from Trump just generally about the economy. I'm not seeing that he's speaking anywhere right now, though, and I fully would have seen a link if he was live. He's supposed to speak at 1:30 p.m. Now it's about 23 minutes after that, but he's kind of known for being a bit late. Oh, he is live apparently on the TV. I'll take a look at that. Thank you for letting me know there, Andres. It looks like he might be live. I haven't seen much come through, though, on my blotter. Back to you.
All right, yeah, guys, so there it is. I tried a short here in the TQs, and then we bounced off that 40.93. I thought this was going to be the chance that, the time that we broke down. I'm like, all right, I'm not going to get stuck in a squeeze. I didn't re-engage right here at 49.50. Apple started to head towards the downside and breaking through some key support levels. And this was when we made this move. But I ran through the mag and see what they were up to. Apple wasn't doing that, but Microsoft was continuing to climb higher. NVDA was doing the exact same thing. Amazon, Microsoft, Tesla. Tesla was putting in a new high and now starting to pull back. So I didn't want to get caught in a squeeze there. So we got out break even. And then I tried a small short on F-Slide. Didn't work. I got out for a small loss on that one. So red on the day so far.
All right, guys, we're still holding FIO here. It's feeling very flat top breakish, if I can say so. This is the kind of the look on FIO, and this is why I've been patient, really patient with it. That uptrend is very, very clear. That seller at around 70 to 71 pennies is even clearer. So this one is a flat top break candidate. Whether or not it actually manifests that way and what kind of move we have, let's take a quick look here at the hourly. Let's see that. Okay, so we're not a blue sky setup, obviously, but this one does feel like it could squeeze into 2. There's been a lot of support at 2 from the basically middle of August to when we gave it up there in early November. So for, maybe 3 weeks or so, $2 was support. It could easily act as resistance if that flat top break manifests. The high of the day is 175. I've got 64s on. It's showing me 70s. We've been packing the patience. We've been wetting the beak here at strategic levels, but PHIO, not the biggest mover on the day, but certainly setting up like it could be a flat top break. We'll keep an eye out on that. Let's go to the last story over here. I don't want to do Aricia win. Let's see BTC. Let's see what Zscaler, Baidu. No, I don't like any of these. We're done the news segment. They're all a little boring there. But yeah, that is the look there, Joey. So let's see what else is moving in the world of small cap gappers. Let's bring in the side chart. See if these bad boys are still moving and which ones look pretty good. Atom is still suffering from that same downtrend and unbroken, really, for the exception of this area, which is where I got out. And we were worried this was going to be a double top. It didn't really manifest into a double top because the neckline break would have been about 356, and this has already dropped into 342. It does feel like a more prolonged downtrend. What I'd be waiting for is a clean break of this downtrend. If you do get one, you can get an outsized move like this, but make sure you're ready for the reversal as it's shown its, propensity to reverse pretty quickly. Rig has been beautiful. It's not a big mover on the day, but if you took good size here, you were rewarded, and there was ample liquidity. Like these 5-minute candles, they have 1 million, 1.2 million, 500,000, 800,000 shares a pop, so you could be sizing in substantially. Moreover, it didn't really give you much in the way of bamboozlement. When it breached the 10, it quickly reverted, and it never breached the 20. The 20 is the yellow line. 8.5% in the Ville of Green. Good look. There goes PHIO into the area top, and that's where I wet the beak. Packing the patience here, baby. We got 74s on now. We got 64s. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead here and set up at 79. We're looking for a move here. Can we squeeze the shorts? We know that the high of the day is 75. We're at 75 right now. There's nothing being taken off the gateways. I'm going to have to take off something here in case this pulls back. Let's watch now, PHIO. Can we get a 76? The answer is no. We're taking off some of the orders here. Can this squeeze? There's 76, but there's no squeeze. So they're selling at every penny. 76 back showing up. Can we see 77s? The answer is no, Joey. So let's pack the patience here on PHIO, but it is looking good. My only concern is, I think I gave Neil a flat top break the other day. It was like QNCX or something like that. It had touched it 100 times, and it looked like it was going to be a crazy flat top break. And then it dropped, lost view up, and never recovered. So you never really know with these ones, Joe. So PHIO in focus.
Yeah, good luck there, brother. All right, so let's see what we got going on here. Why is that like that? So we'll just do a quick trade review. Again, this is going to be my second red day of the week, so nothing crazy. Last week was pretty solid. We'll go over everything here today. I'm going to just dock it in. It's 2 o'clock. I don't like what the market is doing. It can break down. We had a good opportunity, but yeah. Just don't, yeah, we'll leave it at that. So pins was our better trader here on the day. We would have been nicely green, but we got stopped out of the majority, and then it started to rip. We took a couple additional shorts on it. It did work, but then we got out right here. We didn't get the continuation to the volume-weighted average price. The TQQQ, small win on this one, nothing substantial. It is looking like it wants to break down and breach through this neckline here. I think that's key. 49.20, if that breaches, then you can head into that next supply zone around 48.86. So keep an eye out on that. F-slide, we take a small loss on this, looking for a short, but it is strong. Like, you know what, let's just get out of this before we get a little bit more frustrated. So we were trying to play the breakdown and got out of it. It may go now at this point, but that's fine. It can do what it will. I still believe that the price action on the 5 and the 10 minute is still relatively weak compared to what we are seeing here on compared to obviously the buying candles. So you can see the strength within them here and how weak they are to the downside. So that's something really important. We talk about each candle telling its own story, and that is that. We got a couple more to go to. We did pins. Oh, Rivian, we took a loss on. This is going to be our largest loser on the day, actually, RIVN. We tried a couple attempts on it. I believe we got one small win, but this was our loss where we thought we were going to break through the volume-weighted average price, so we put the most size on here throughout the day. no, actually pins was so second most size here, and then we take this loss, and then we're like, oh, hey, should we flip the script? Is it going to break down? No, that wasn't necessarily the case. As it rebounds off of that $17 mark, you have that half an hour consolidation or so, breaks through those specific levels, and then now recovered. So not too bad of a look. That's my trade review. We'll lock it in today. We'll lock in a small red, but still slightly positive on the week, which I think which matters more.
Of course, that's the most important thing, bro.
Yeah.
What's good for the weekend?
I got physio at 3:30 today. Then we got dinner at 5:30.
Hey.
And then, which I'm a horrible drawer. We're gonna do some. We're gonna try to draw each other. So I told her, I'm like, hey, listen,
That's a date, I'm assuming. It's like a...
No, we got the home kit. We got the home kit, right? So we got the home painting kit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna attempt, but I'm gonna be honest. Like I was stuck to stick figures throughout the whole.
You and I both, brother.
Right? So she's like, you gotta try. I'm like, I promise, I will try, but I don't know how it's gonna go.
I think it's gonna go well because you're giving it the old college try, bro. That's all that matters.
It's not even a community college try. I'm gonna give it the Ivy League try, but it doesn't mean it's gonna come out good,
That's
right?
okay, bro.
Like I'll bring it in as well too to see how embarrassing this painting is gonna be.
Are you gonna bring it in?
Yeah, I'll bring it in. I'll see how
You're a
it
good
is.
sport, man. You're a good sick sport,
I don't
bro.
know if I should, but it's gonna be absolutely horrible. I'm like in my head, I'm preparing for this, but I just don't think I'm gonna be able to come out on the other side.
I like it, man. I like it. That's gonna be fun,
I'm
man.
not good at drawing, dude. I don't know.
Neither am I, bro. Neither am I. I just
tried.
don't. I haven't tried in years. I gotta tell you the truth.
tried.
But I gotta do this. There goes a PHIO into the high of the day. There's 180. We got 64s on. I know that's Neil's beautiful mug there on the bottom left of the screen. We got 64s. We're looking for 85 next. We're still holding some shares. We're going to keep up a look at this. Always be thankful says, set up a Picasso hat. There you go. I like that.
Yeah, I'll get the French hat on the side and stuff like that. I'll do everything.
You need that like French music.